Hello, everyone, and welcome to this event. This is our first event, Professional Mentorship. This is an event that is going to help you with your future career, wherever you want to go to. And this session is about healthcare careers. Um, at the moment, we are live, and people are also watching all over the world, interested people. So this event today, what we're going to do is we have our team here, our mentors here, and we thank our mentors so much for making it here and agreeing to do this for us. They're going to talk to you about some few things about themselves, and then after we're going to have the questions and answers. If you have any questions, that time will be open, and then you come forward here and then you ask the question. It's going to be an interactive session, so I need you to come out, ask questions. No question is stupid. Like, everything is very, very important. So whatever you want to ask, go ahead and ask the mentors, okay? All right, so as we're waiting for one of our mentors, we want to give like 5 minutes, and then we just wait for the fifth mentor, and then we can just go ahead and start this event. All right, thank you.
There is nobody like you, God. Hey. Sing El Shaddai, the all-sufficient one. Hey. So great is your name, say. From age to age, you still remain the same. We call you Yahweh, Yahweh. Hey, it's the Lion of Judah. We give you all the praise. Somebody let your voice sing. Great is your name, say. Alpha Omega, beginning and the end. We call you Yahweh, Yahweh, yeah. Everybody let your voice to the Lord say Yahweh, Yahweh. One more time, say, your name is Yahweh. Where would we be without you, Yahweh? You are highly exalted in this place tonight. We know you are working in the midst of your people tonight. Come on, call him. Your name, your name. Hey, your name, your name, your name. Hey, your name is Yahweh. Your name is Yahweh. There is power in the name of Jesus. Hey, yeah. The name above all names. Yeah. Say to me one more, say. Buye to me ra. To me one more. To me one more, Jesus. Yeah. Buye to me ra. To me one more. Say it again. Say to me one more. Say. Yeah. Buye to me ra. To me one more. To me one more, Jesus. Yes, to me. Ooh, yeah, to me right. To me one more. Say it again, say, Nyansa one more. Hey. Ooh, yeah, Nyansa right. Nyansa one more. Nyansa one more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, Nyansa right. Nyansa one more. Say it again. I want you one more. There's power in the name. So, ooh, yeah, I want him right. I want him one more. I want him one. Yes, I say, yeah, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I want him right. Father, we love you tonight. I want him one more. Hey, there's power in the name. Say, power. Hey, there is power in the name of Jesus. Hey, sin, there is power in the name of Jesus. At the mention of the name Jesus, every knee bows. To me, one more. To me, one more. Let your voice one more time. Say it again. Say, there is power in the name. Say. There is power in the name of Jesus. Lord, we love you. Say it again, say, there is power in the name of Jesus. is above every other name. Jesus, come on. Deliverance. Hey, there's deliverance in the name of Jesus. Hey, to me all will more. To me all will more. Say it again, say it again. Deliverance in the name. Deliverance in the name, deliverance in the name. Sing, there's deliverance in the name of Jesus.
Okay, so we have the fifth mentor here, and welcome again to Professional Mentorship. This is something that it's an event. It's something that we have come together to start. It's not just for health. It's going to be like a continuous thing, and it's about other professions too. But this session is mainly about healthcare careers. And we have our mentors here who have agreed to go ahead with this, to present themselves as your mentors. And you know how it works with mentors. So it's a very, very big job that they have actually taken upon themselves. And let's make good use of the time that we have here to interact, to get any information that we want from our mentors at this time. I'm going to introduce our mentors, starting from my very, the one close to my left hand here. We have Dr. Maxwell Edulate. He is an orthopedic and spine surgeon with Houston Spine Institute. We have, next to him, we have Bridget Senanu Agbakpe. She is an RN. She's a registered nurse, and she has all those credentials, seriously. She has her doctorate, and she's an RN, for starters. And she's a director for quality resources at ACA Houston Northwest. Next to her, we have Dr. Akosia Edu Afari. She is a pharmacist. She also has her doctorate. The PharmD actually shows doctorate. She is the manager of Prime Express Pharmacy. And then next to her, we have Dr. Dinah Alote. She also has her doctorate and Master of Science in what? Public health, right? Yes. She is a nutritionist, and she works with, she's the monitoring and evaluation lead at the Vitamin Angel Alliance. And then last but not least, we have Araba Edu. She's a lab scientist. She says she doesn't want her credentials to be displayed, so I'll keep quiet. She is a lab scientist. She works with Alphadera Labs as the operations manager. Let's say welcome to our mentors here. And I'd like to introduce myself. I am Lady Brenda Boateng. I'm also an RN, and I'm coordinating this event. So welcome all of you. And so we're going to start with how, in that manner, as in how I introduce the mentors. So we're going to start with Dr. Maxwell. He's going to talk a little bit about himself. He's going to talk a little bit about himself and everything about him being a surgeon. And then after that, we're going to move as, as they are seated. And if you have any questions, you can hold on to the questions, and we will have the time for questions and answers as well. Let's say a little prayer before we start this event on its own. Father, we thank you for bringing us here. We thank you for giving us this day and this event. We pray and commit this into your hands, that Father, take absolute control. grant us whatever we want to do here. Let it be successful. And at the end of the day, we're going to give you all the thanks and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So we're going to start with Dr. Maxwell over here. And Dr. Maxwell, over to you.
Hello. Good morning. I think I'm going to stand up. I'm used to getting up. I'm more energetic. I had ADHD as a kid, so I'm not used to sitting in a place for a long time. But give a hand for these amazing ladies that I'm lucky to be around today. I know usually they say ladies first, but I don't know why they're letting me go first. But anyways, we'll start. There's no specific format. I usually like more interactions. But if you look on stage, as you look up here, this brings in mind Drake. Anybody know Drake? The musician? Oh, everybody does. Okay. Have you heard the song Started From the Bottom? What they say, started from the bottom, now we're here. If you look up on stage, everybody started from the bottom. I know you look up and say, oh my God, this, doctor that, doctor that. We all started where you are sitting today. None of us came out of our mother's womb a doctor. If you look at all of us, we are all the same, just like you guys. We have 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 hands. So if these people on stage can do it, you can do it as well. Mentoring is a fair stage in setting your future goals. You guys are already ahead of the ball, or ahead of the game. I wish when I was your age, I had I need to move back. Oh. I wish when I was your age, I had somebody like these people to talk to me, guide me to what I was going to do. So as you look around, you guys are already ahead of everybody else. Everybody else is at home. You guys are here spending your Saturday with us and trying to get ahead of where you want to be. I know it's about healthcare. I'm going to generalize a little bit. You can do anything you want to do in life. Don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. Okay? Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do something. Anybody know what Philippians 4:13 says? Anybody know what Philippians 4:13 says? Yes. Amen. There you go. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Here's a reward for that. It's my favorite quote. So as you can see now, you got to interact. You say something, you might get a reward. So, you know. So Philippians 4:13 is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So with the strength of Christ, you can do anything. Nobody can tell you nothing. So as Ms. Brenda said, I'm an orthopedic and spine surgeon. I grew up in Ghana, went to high school in Ghana, came here, went to college here. What does it take to be a surgeon? I usually tell people, don't look up at being a surgeon and say, oh, I'm going to be a surgeon. I want to study. I have to go to medical school. I have to do this. Just be the best at who you are right now. If you're in junior high, high school, college, be the best. If you study hard and be the best at the stage that you are, that carries on. Most of the time, we are focusing on what is ahead. If you want to be a nurse, a doctor, a pharmacist, anything, that's great. But at the same time, you have to start from where you are. You have to be good. You have to get good grades. You have to get good at doing what you were doing at that stage. Because if you don't do well in junior high school or high school, you're not going to get to that point of being a surgeon or nurse or later in life or a pilot or whatever you want to be. So focus at being the best or being great or good at where you are currently. Okay, that makes sense? Okay. So what does it take to be a doctor? Some people will tell you, oh, it's a lot of years. It's so many years. When people ask me, how long did it take to be a surgeon, I usually don't like to tell them because that's not the point. The point is not about how long it took me to get there. The point is, can you get there? I mean, what are you in a rush for? If I tell somebody it's 20 years, like, hey, 20 years there, I then, why? Why 20 years? Does it matter how long it's going to take to achieve your dream? When I graduated from medical school, we had a lady that was graduating with us. She was 55 years old. All of us were in our 20s. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. She achieved a dream. So, to be a doctor or to be a surgeon or any other doctor, there's different pathways. The main thing is you have to finish high school. Or you have to test out of high school. You got to take your GED or whatever. But you have to finish high school and take your GED or whatever. And then you have to go to university, college, university, and spend 4 years there. Now, here's the thing. Most people think, if you have to be a doctor, then you have to major in sciences, biology, chemistry, and physics. You don't have to do that. I chose to do that. I have a degree in biology, chemistry, and physics. I took forever in college. But you don't have to do that. For medicine, it's 4 years of university. It can be 4 years of anything. It can be basket weaving. It can be philosophy. It can be anything. But you have to do certain prerequisites classes. And those classes, or required classes, to bring it down, is required classes. Those classes are usually chemistry, biology, and physics. So that's why most people decide to get degrees in that field. That brings me to the next thing. My older son is currently in medical school, second year. And I never asked him to be a doctor. He wanted to do it because growing up, he saw me doing it, and he wanted to do it. I told him to major in either nursing or any of the science fields, and he told me no. He changed his major to philosophy. I was so upset. I was like, whoa, philosophy, what are you going to do? Tell jokes? In the future, be a stand-up philosopher? Go to places and like, hey, what did Socrates said? And, and literally, this kid majored in philosophy, and he got into medical school. He's in second year of medical school right now. So the point of that is, don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. There's a pathway, just follow the pathway. Most of the time, that's another thing. Most of the time, parents call me and say, hey, my kid wants to be a doctor, or my daughter or my son wants to be a doctor. How do they go about it? The first thing I ask in my head is that the kid that want to be a doctor, or the parents want their kids to be a doctor? One thing, as a mentor, and I'll tell you the truth, I wanted to be a doctor because I want to do it. It wasn't because my parents wanted me to do it. It wasn't because my auntie or my uncle wants me to do it. I wanted to do it. There's two things I wanted to do when I was growing up, and I was age 5 or 6. I wanted to do two things. One, a shoe shine boy. And I know you guys don't know what a shoe shine boy is. Shoe shine boy in Ghana, they come to your house and shine your shoe and you give them money. And I thought, wow, if these guys can get money from just shining shoes, I can shine shoes and make money too. So that's one thing I wanted to do. Up till now, they joke about me that I wanted to be a shoe shine boy. The second thing I wanted to do was be a doctor. There's two reasons why I wanted to be a doctor. One, when I was younger, I had a sister that died, and everybody was saying, oh, if they had gone to the hospital on time, if the doctor came on time, they wouldn't die. And as a kid, I was 7, I was like, whoa, who is that guy that, wow, he's so superior that if he showed up, nobody dies. So I was like, wow, I want to be like that guy. So from age 7, I wanted to be a doctor. And then by age 9, 10, there was this man who was in our neighborhood. Meanwhile, in the neighborhood that I grew up, almost nobody goes to school. And this man moved there. He was at the medical school in Ghana. So he moved there to the neighborhood. And I know you guys are teenagers and kids, but when this man moved there, he was in medical school. And I saw the way everybody was treating him in the neighborhood. The women were bringing him food. All those amazing things. Like, what is this guy doing? And in Ghana back in the days, the medical students, they wear suit and tie to go to school, and the bus picks them up. And I was like, wow, that's my dream. First, I want to be a doctor to save people, but I want to go to medical school and be a doctor so that I can ride in that bus and have people bring me food. So, anyways, whatever your goal is or your dream is to become somebody, pharmacist, doctor, nurse, whatever, make sure it's your dream. It doesn't have to be. Most people think, oh, if somebody asks you why you want to be a doctor or a nurse, oh, because I want to save people. It doesn't have to be that. It could be because you saw Dr. Araba or Dr. Edu, any of them driving a nice car, and you're like, hey, I want to do it. It's not by force. Most Africans think, most of us think, and our parents tell you, oh, you have to be a doctor because it's good for the society. No, it's something that you're doing for you. Okay? Nobody should tell you what to do. Because let me tell you one thing. I know sitting there thinking, oh, he's a doctor already, so he can say nobody can tell you anything. I know a lot of doctors that hate their job. Don't ever think, oh, because he's a doctor. No, I know a lot of doctors that hate their job. There's doctors that have committed suicide. Some don't like what they do, and they see a patient, they will scream at you and everything because they are not happy with what they do. Somebody forced them to that path. And once you go to that path, it's hard to go back. You spend years in school. 4 years in college, 4 years in medical school, and then residency training. All these years, and now they don't like it because they didn't want to do it. So one thing I'll tell you, as looking up to us here, is whatever you want to do in life, make sure that's what you want to do. Make sure nobody's forcing you to do it because you're going to hate it at some point in life. I know right now you're young. It's like, oh, I can love it. No, you will. If that's not what you want to do, then just be happy with what you're doing. I tell my kids that, I say, hey, if you want to collect trash, I know this is supposed to get you guys encouraged to go to college and be a doctor or healthcare, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I tell my kids, if you want to be a trash collector, that's fine. But one, make sure you get educated, meaning you're going to go to university and whatever. And if you decide to collect trash, then you can collect all the trash you want. Number two, if you're going to be a trash collector, make sure you are the best trash collector ever. Because trust me, there's a man I know in Ghana who is filthy rich from collecting trash. Zoom Lion. So, whatever you want to do, make sure that's what you want to do and make sure you're going to be the best at it. So, I'm not going to bore you further with how to be a doctor or whatever. The most important thing is make sure your dream is your dream. And whatever you want to do, be a singer, be a musician, whatever, don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Because if we did it, you can do it. You guys in the seats and that are born here, like I tell my kids, you guys are smarter than us that came from Ghana. The only thing is, all my boys, I tell them, you guys are smarter than me, but you guys are lazy. I can outwork you anytime. You guys are smart, you can do whatever you want, but make sure you can outwork anybody. And if you can outwork anybody, you can be whoever you want to be. When I decided to be a spine surgeon, all my friends in medical school, when I went to medical school, in my class, we was class of 100 people, almost 100 people. There were 2 blacks, me and another lady, another American lady. So by the time we finish medical school, then you have to pick what you want to be. If you want to be internal medicine, family medicine, surgeon, whatever. And I said, yeah, I want to be a spine surgeon. And one of my friends from another school, he's another friend of mine from Egypt. He goes, hey, you're always trying to do things that is impossible. Why don't you just stick with something easy? I was like, no, that's what I want to do. I want to be a surgeon. I went through the different programs to apply and everything. And if you want, I can show you a picture later. When I started when I applied for residency, I went to a program that has never had any black person. And everybody's like, yeah, you sure? Are you sure? It's like, yeah. But guess what? All I had to do was make sure I worked harder than anybody. People tell you, oh, and that's what people told me when I came to Oklahoma first. I came to America. A lot of Ghanaian parents, when I told them I want to be a doctor, like, hey, we've not had a Ghanaian doctor here. We don't know if you can do it. And I'm sure people tell you the same thing too. You can do this or that. But it's not about competing with anybody. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about you knowing you can work hard and you can outsmart anybody. So with that said, we'll leave further room for any questions. But last thing I want you to know is you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Right? Okay.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. Adulate. Let's give him a hand of applause. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dr. Bridget Agbakpe. The floor is yours.
So Dr. Adu has set the pace, so I have to get up too. Hello, everyone. Bridget is my name, as she said. I'm the Director of Quality, ACA Houston Northwest. I'm a nurse, a proud nurse. And who is going to be a nurse here? There you go. Great job. Okay, so my journey to this place started in my holy village in Amfuega in the Volta region. That's where I grew up. So in Amfuega in the Volta region, we learn by faith and not by sight. Okay? So you people sitting here, you have the opportunity. You have great opportunities that we did not have. Yes. I tell my children that if I were to grow up here, I would have been on the moon by now. I'll be in space. Because there, when they tell you science, this is this, atom is like this, you imagine it. I was telling my daughter when we were driving here that the qualitative table, you have to chew, pour, write, and forget. As I now don't remember anything about qualitative table. Going to the lab to go and do lab tests and put together chemicals and titrate. We imagine it. You have to. So we learn by faith and not by sight. You don't see it, you just imagine it. So you are so privileged to be here. The opportunities you have here are great. So make use of every single opportunity that comes your way. Okay? Because people who brought you here went through all the pain and all the struggle to get you to where you are today. So make use of every opportunity that you get. So my journey started when I was 10 years old. I don't remember the class I was in then. We call it classes, not grades. But my journey started when I was 10 years old. I wanted to be a doctor. Which kind of doctor? I don't know. As Dr. Edu said, we didn't have Edulate. We didn't have mentors like you do right now. In my holy village, nobody had been to the university. I didn't see any doctors there. I didn't see any nurses that were, up there. So my journey was I was just imagining that maybe I saw it on TV. My grandfather had a black and white TV. That the whole neighborhood, all the children in the neighborhood come and watch on Sundays. We watch Obra. Then we all come and sit and watch on the weekend. So I'm sure maybe I saw it on TV that somebody was a doctor. So I said, I'm going to be a doctor. What kind of doctor? I did not know. So I started writing on my exercise books, Dr. Senanu Ofori, Doctor. Every book. When I went back to Ghana recently, I took an album from high school. It had Dr. Senanu Ofori on it. That's how far back my dream went. So you have to dream. As the doctor said, dream big, and let the dream be your own dream. When you dream as big as the ocean. America, there are no impossibilities. Everything is possible. So dream, and let the dream guide you to where you want to be. So I'm here, and I call myself doctor, and I'm so proud. When I see the DR before my name, I'm excited because it was a childhood dream from Amfuega Akukome, RC Primary School. My holy village, yes. And so when I finished, we call it GSA, junior high school, I went to all-girls Catholic school. And there as well, I was doing science. My goodness, chemistry, physics, biology. And the faith continued. You have to learn by faith. You imagine the chemicals, how you mix them, physics, how you mix them. So when you people go to the lab, know that people are not privileged to go through that, okay? So after senior high school, that year, 1996, I sound so ancient, right? 1996, we had 2 batches of students coming out of senior high school. We had the A-level system, and then the senior high school. And the whole of Ghana, we had 3 universities at that time. So imagine the whole of Texas having 3 universities. Can you imagine that? Because the population of Texas, when I checked this morning, is like 30 million. In Ghana, we are about 25 million. So the whole of Ghana, we had 3 universities. We had all these high schools graduating. Everybody must go to these same 3 universities, one in Cape Coast, one in Kumasi, and one in Accra. Those are the only 3. So this big dream of mine to be a doctor, what kind of doctor I didn't know at that point. And then we have only 3 universities for all these high school people coming out. So what I'm saying again is that you have great opportunities here. Make sure you make good use of them. Let your dream be big, so big that it will guide you to where you need to be, okay? So I got admission to do physics in KNUST, which is in Kumasi. And I struggled through physics through high school. I really struggled. So I thought, I want to be a doctor. And I was offered physics. How does that align with my dream? So again, what is guiding me? My dream. So I'm like, physics, what are the prospects of physics? How am I going to become a doctor when I do physics? So I was contemplating. I told my mother that I don't think I want to do physics. But that's the only thing that was offered to me. So a cousin of mine, as God will have it, came to the house after church on Sunday and told me that 37 Military Hospital was admitting nursing students. And I said, yeah, nursing and my doctor dream kind of align a bit more than physics. So let me apply to that. So I applied to 37 to do nursing. How many students applied? 700. How many are they going to take? 40. So here again, you can go to any nursing school you want once you have the grades. In Ghana, we didn't have it that way. So out of 700 students who were writing the entrance exam, they were going to take 40 students to go and do nursing. So I wrote the exam. I remember one question very well. They asked us that you are coming to 37 Military Hospital, and there was a road crash, and you are the only one there. What will you do? At that point, I was maybe 17, 18. So I don't know what I wrote. I can't remember what I wrote. But God being so good, I got admission 37. But then I know that from the beginning of 37, I know that this is not the dream. The dream is to be what? A doctor. So what is guiding me again? My dream. And every exercise book, I can see it today when I go to my room in Ghana and I look through. Every book, storybook, exercise, everything has Dr. Senan Ufori written on it. Because that's what I wanted to be. So the dream was guiding me again. So dream, guys, ladies and gentlemen, dream. Let the dream be big. Write it somewhere. Write it somewhere. Every year, when you are doing your New Year resolution, write it somewhere. This is what I want to be. And every time, go back to it and let it guide you. Okay. So I went through nursing school, graduating as the best student of my class, to the glory of God. Because my dream is to be a doctor, and I think that if I graduate as the best student, it might help me to get into medical school or to be a doctor. Later on, I realized that as a nurse, I could still be a doctor. I could still get my doctorate in nursing. So yeah, okay. So instead of going to medical school and spending so many more years, as Dr. Adulate was saying, let me pursue the doctorate in nursing. So after I finished my nursing school in 37, I worked for 1 year and then went to South Africa. So in South Africa, I was sponsoring myself, self-sponsored. So again, your parents are here helping you to go to school, paying your fees. Please make use of every opportunity and dream big. I want to see Ghanaian astronauts. I want to see you on the moon. And I said, that's a Ghanaian. Oh, that's my daughter. She's on the moon. So dream big. This place has opportunities. That's why we all came here. All the parents came here, for you to have better opportunities. So dream. Okay, so in South Africa, I was working part-time. I go to work at night, and I go to school during the day. Go to work at night, go to school during the day, until I finish my master's. When I finished my master's, I said, the battle is a lot. After this one, I am done. It's a lot. I've got to go to school, go to work, go to school. It was a lot. I used to sleep in class, and my classmates would write a note and send it to me. You'll be sleeping the whole class. Because the night before, I went to work. So what is guiding me? I want to be a doctor. At all costs, I must get there. So I finished my master's. I was so traumatized. I said that was the end of it. I'm not doing it anymore. That's it. But after a while, what happened? Every book I take, it has doctor on it. Every book I take, my dream was on those books. It's in my bedroom. Everywhere I pass, I'm reminded of the dream that I had. So what did I do? After a few years, I went back to school to go and do my doctorate, because that is a dream. Okay, so the doctorate was tough. It was really, 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 really tough. My family would not let me give up. And at one point, I went to a military museum, and I found something, a quote. And the quote says, "The pain is temporary, but the pride is forever." The pain is what? Temporary, but the pride is forever. So I bought the sticker. I put it in my bathroom. Every time I go to the bathroom, I see it. The pain is temporary, the pride is forever. The pain is temporary, the pride is forever. It was tough. My last daughter was 10 months old when I went back to school to get my doctorate. It was tough. Dr. Alote told me something. She said the PhD will change the structure of your brain. The PhD will change the structure of what? Your brain. And my brain structure has never been the same. So it was the dream that was guiding me and pushing me and forcing me and guiding me and pushing me. If not for the dream I had, I don't think I would go that far. But to the glory of God, I went through the doctorate. My family would not let me give up. My mother said, "You are not giving up." My husband said, "You won't give up." Went through it, and I'm done with it. So I'm here today to tell you that it is possible if you dream. And when you dream, dream big. And let the dream be written somewhere. Tell your family that I'm going to be this. So they'll hold you to it. Make the dream so big, bigger than you can ever imagine. And work towards it. And every time you want to give up, remember the dream that you had. The dream, the dream, the dream. And doing something that you don't like is stress. But doing something that you love is called passion. So don't do it because people are doing it. Don't do it because somebody asked you to do it. Some people, God calls them and their parents receive the call on their behalf. Let the call come directly to you. And please dream big. Where you are, the opportunities. How many universities are in Houston? As I told you, Ghana, we had 3 at that time. Only 3. For all the people, all the senior high school students, we had 3 universities. So dream big, write it somewhere, record it somewhere, and let it guide you. Thank you all so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Bridget Agbake. Let's give her another round of applause. Yes, because she's a registered nurse and I'm a registered nurse too. So, yes. All right, so our next speaker, right before we take a short break, our next speaker is Dr. Edu Afari. She is a pharmacist. Let's welcome her.
I think we all need to follow, so.
Sorry for saying that.
All right, so as she said, my name is Akosia Edu Afari, and I started the same way Bridget was saying. My early childhood, I went to school in State Experimental, JSS in Kumasi. I was born and raised in Kumasi, so I started my journey over there, where my dream was to be a pharmacist or a cardiologist. But I started as a JSS in a State Experimental, and when I finished State Experimental, I was able to go to St. Monica's. So in Ghana, you are here from a high school, you go to the senior high school. So my senior high school, they have to choose the course that you have to do. According to your performance, then they classify you into your classes. So we were I went and I was classified to be in the science class. And fortunately, that was what I was also dreaming to be. So I've been druggist all my year. So St. Monica's, after St. Monica's, I wanted to go to KNUST. I didn't want to go to Accra or Tamale. That's where they have another one, UDS, yeah, University of Development Studies. That's where they had pharmacy, and I wanted to go to pharmacy, so I decided to go to KNUST. But the queue was very, very, very long. Like my sister just said, only 2 schools for university, like Texas, a whole Texas, and you have 2 schools for that kind of course. So I was placed to do a Greek or I think it was a Greek, one of them. And agriculture was not one of the things that I wanted to do. So I decided to go to the Polytechnic. So I went to Kumasi Polytechnic to do pharmacy technician. That's where we call it here. That is a diploma in the dispensing pharmacy in Ghana. So most people would go to the 4 years over there. After that, you get a chance to work in a pharmacy. So after that, I started working in Bandi Chemist in Kumasi. So I worked for a few years, and my passion or my plan was to do pharmacy. So I was working and still wanted to do pharmacy. How can I get there? When I go admission office, I go there with your credit and everything. They said you have to be a mature student to be able to come in because you miss your time that you have to. So being a mature student means you have to wait till maybe you're 25 or 30s. People go in at 30 years, then you come in, they will consider you because you have enough experience in hospital or you have experience in the pharmacy field, like working. So I didn't wait over there. I decided to go to University of Cape Coast, where I went in and did a biological science. So I went there. Instead of you to wait for maybe being your 30s, I will have my kids, and now maybe I will not even would like to go in for that degree anymore. So I didn't wait and move on with biological science. So I went in and studied biological science over there. After biological science, I moved to the United States. So when I came over here, or when I was coming, my plan was to go to school. I came, everybody that I talked to in New York, oh, you need to be, you go and do living. And I'm like, I'm not here for living. People will tell you, if you want to go to school, then you have to live for about 2 years so that you get credentials, or you do this, then you can go to school. And I'm like, I need to go and see advisors over there. So I went and met some advisors over there. New York State will be like, even to get a driver's license, they give you a hard time. So it was difficult for you to even go to school. You don't have a car, you have to ride a bus. You don't have even place that you are staying, they have to borrow somebody's room, then you'll be sharing apartment. So I decided like, I have to move away from here. The plans and then the future here is like everybody that you talk to, their plan is for you to go and do living. And that is not what I came here for. So I have to move to people whose maybe goals will be in line if what I'm doing or what I want to do. So I moved to Texas, Dallas. When I came to Dallas, I decided to work in a CVS. So I started as a cashier. Like Dr. Latte said, we all moved from a ladder. I started as a cashier at CVS Pharmacy. When I went there for a job, because I had experience as a pharmacy tech from back home. And they're like, oh, are you certified? I'm like, what? I have a pharmacy tech and I have done it there. They were done. Everywhere you go, I go to Walgreens, I go to Walmart. I've been going to those places that I've seen. I never had anybody to give me a chance to step in a hospital, and I didn't even try that one. So I decided to hop into that one. And I got CVS, and I started working as a cashier in the front. So when I started working, that is when I bought a book online, Pharmacy Tech book. I just ordered online, studied, and passed and got my certification. So when I got the certification, then I took it to the pharmacy. I now have the certification, so can I work here? Now, your accent, people will be like, oh, what are you saying? I am speaking English. Can I work over here? I want to work at a pharmacy because I want to know what they do over there. This is my plan. I want to be a pharmacist or a cardiologist. But now I'm here. I'm married. Your husband is also there. You have babies. I have a baby now, and I'm also thinking about how am I going to take care of the baby and going to maybe medical school, as Dr. Lati said, because everybody will tell you about the age or the years. And I look at it, and I was like, let me choose my pharmacy. That is where maybe I can finish and take care of my kids. So I went and spoke with the manager of the store. So the manager gave me a little opportunity and said, oh, let me put her here for a cashier in the pharmacy. So they allowed me to maybe work in the pharmacy. When I started working, all my plans is to see the pharmacists, what they are doing, so that I will get details of what they are doing. Then I will be able to move from there. So I went and started as a CVS, as a pharmacy tech, a cashier. Later on, they gave me hours to be a pharmacy tech, and then I became a pharmacy tech over there. So I worked for about 6 years as a pharmacy tech, working and seeing them. I'm like, I come, you do all this work, and the pharmacist is standing there, verification, doing this. And I'm being paid like, it took me about 6 years. Then I got about $12 that they pay you. I'm like, I need to go for that one. I'm not coming here. So as we are saying, it came along with your passion and your goal. You never lose focus on what you are here for. You never lose focus on what you have determined to be. You always, everything that you do, you let it guide you, or you use those things as a stepping stone to move to what you have planned to do. So afterwards, whilst I was as a technician, making babies and going to school. So I decided to go to school, get my prereqs, like we are saying. Even for pharmacy during that time, you don't have to go and get a whole degree before you become a pharmacist or something like that. You just get prerequisites. I started at Richland College in Dallas. I do community college. I go to work, come home, make my babies, then continue. So I was doing all those to be able to get I did my prereqs. After the prereqs, I have an associate degree in maths and associate degree in science over there. And also, I target the 3 schools or 4 schools and make sure all their prerequisites that I'm doing, they were in line, so that if you will determine to go one or the other, you have their prereqs. That is when I was able to. So after the prereqs, then I got admission to the East Tennessee State University. And they were saying the same thing happens to me. I had some friends over there, they went on an interview, they refused them. I got admission. Lo and behold, I went, I was the only black person in my class, a class of 90. I was the only girl, only black, and also a female over there. So you have to be toughened. You have to get going. Your dream is to get to the head, not be over there for somebody to say, oh, black people, you are not smart or that. I was able to be in the race. And as he said, my best friend over there was 54 years when we were starting pharmacy school. And we are still friends. She was my best because I look at her and I thought I was old to come in here. But I am in my 20s or 30s, and this lady is in 54, a white lady who has been born and raised in the same place. She never gave up. That is what she wanted to do. So she had everything, and at the age of 54, she was able to come in. Even in the middle of our courses and all those things, a lot of things happened to her, but she still stood till we finished the course. So focus and have a big dream. This is what you want to do. Nothing. Even I keep on telling my kids, right now, I don't push my even pharmacy or anything. I tell them, you have to love it. The pharmacy you are doing, or the medical doctor, or any profession you are going in, people go to work and we all come back. There are a lot of things involved in there. So if you don't have the love for it, you cannot survive. You will get the degree, you spend years, you can get to wherever, but you are still not happy. So don't let anybody push their idea, oh, my friend is doing this, so I want to do that. No, it has to come from the bottom of your heart. Mine, like I said, from Ghana, always when I see females with the white coats, whenever we go to Confanochi, because only men were doing medicine. If I see a female with a white coat, I'm like, this is what I want to be. You want to break that. You want to break that. Everybody in there, they were all men as a doctor or a pharmacist. I want to also be there. So that is what kept me going. And even when I came over here, I continue. So I've been druggist. I always want to be this. And I am now, after working or after graduating for the pharmacy school, I came back to CVS and I became a staff pharmacist, worked for a while. And I also went ahead and got a position to be the pharmacy manager to see how the managerial part of it is also look like. Although corporate, you'll be looking at them, doing a whole lot of things, receiving a whole lot of instruction from corporate. It helps you to also learn a lot of things. From there, then I move on to independent pharmacy to see how they manage it. All the behind the work and everything, how things are being done, so that I can also do something for myself. Until after the independent, then I move on to develop my own, where I am working now as a pharmacy manager. So it all comes to you having the passion and also not deviating from your goal. I could have changed my mind. Like when I came in, go to living, even nursing. I have a cousin who's like, you need to go to nursing. I'm like, I don't like nursing. That's not why I came to the US. I want to be either a pharmacist or a cardiologist. So in everything short, that is how I got here. So we all had a ladder to maybe took a step one by one to be able to hear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edu Afari. At this moment, we're going to take a 10 minutes break to stretch out, to get some donuts. We have some donuts at the back there. And then we're coming back to continue at, it's 11:02 right now. We're coming back at 11:12. So, yeah, thank you.
One, let's go. For you are good and your mercy is forever. Everybody, 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 Father will teach you a dance. All right. I go, eh? Everybody, put your hands in. My Father, you are good. Jehovah overdo. See what you have done. I will do my lala for you. My Father, you are so good.
All right, welcome back. So we're going to continue with the event, and our mentors are also ready to go. So yes, we're just gonna go just like that. Our next speaker is Dr. Diana Alute. She is a nutritionist, and yes, now the floor is yours, Dr. Alute.
So I will break protocol and sit. Thank you, Lady Brenda, for the introduction, and thank you for the honor to be able to speak to our mentees. So I want to say something a little bit different from what the other speakers have said. So my trajectory to being a nutritionist is a little bit different. All my life, I wanted to be a doctor, actually a dentist. And so I had wanted to be a dentist. I went through I was raised, born and raised in Ghana. I lived in Ghana for the most part. I went to really good schools in the city of Accra. And then I went to a really good high school in Cape Coast. And then I went to University of Ghana for a bachelor's degree. And in my bachelor's degree, in my bachelor's program, I really wanted to do, I wanted to do medical school. And so I, took the prerequisite classes. But I realized in my second year of my college that I wasn't actually good in chemistry. And that was a big shocker to me. I actually flunked chemistry. I got an F, straight F. In one of the chemistry classes I took, and so I had to retake it. But my story is a story of, pivoting when your first passion doesn't work out, and then you have to do something else. And so I didn't make it into medical school, because of political reasons. There was a lot of politics with getting into medical school at the time when I wanted to get into medical school in Ghana at the University of Ghana. And then also I felt that my grades weren't strong enough to also sustain me if I even got into medical school. I felt that I wouldn't be able to make it. And so I needed to do something else. And so I had a plan B to actually do physical therapy. I remember I went to tell my family and, where I lived that I wanted to do physical therapy. And then my aunt said to me, "That's just an S. Why would we spend this much in your education and then you go and do physical therapy? You should do something else." And so I tried to see what other options I could, do with, the kinds of classes I'm taking. And I kind of gave up and I said, "Hey, let me just do nutrition. It looks like it's okay. It's not anything, that I would stress myself too much, and I don't want to be disappointed because I didn't get into medical school. I don't want to go another route where I wouldn't succeed." And so I went to do nutrition. That's my, my bachelor's, around the third year of my bachelor's program or my college program. And so I majored in nutrition, but I realized that I actually was really good at it. The classes in nutrition and food science. So I have a dual college degree in nutrition and food science. The classes that people would flunk, I would ace. And so I realized that maybe I was actually thinking about it wrongly. Maybe it was God actually bringing all of these failures my way to shape me and direct me into the path that He actually called me to be. And so I finished with a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and Food Science. And then I got work. I wanted to, work as a food scientist. So I actually started out working in an ice cream factory. So I worked making ice cream. My work was making, and it was really fun. I ate a lot of ice cream. I became very fat from eating a lot of ice cream. And then, I wanted another job. I actually had plans to work either for one of the larger food manufacturing organizations in Ghana, or try and do something else outside of the country. But I didn't land any of those jobs. And so somehow a friend who I went to school with in college said to me that, "Hey, there's a new project that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is funding, and they are looking for somebody to do X and X." And so I said, "Oh, that's fine," but I needed to the job came with the requirement to live outside of Accra. So I was living in a village in the eastern region. My parents said no. My family was like, no. I mean, like, what are you going to do there? But I felt that I needed to go and get that experience. And so I did go. And that experience put me in touch with a lot of people who have shaped kind of my trajectory up till now. And so I put that experience on my CV. I applied to do a master's program outside of Ghana in the US. And I had somebody write to me, a professor write to me saying that because of that one experience on your CV, I felt you'd be the right person for me to have as a mentee in my program. And so she stepped up to be my mentor for my master's program, and I ended up going to the University of North Carolina. And so, you know, you can see that when your plan A doesn't work out, don't panic. God always has a plan for you. Your plan, it may not be your plan B, it may not even be your plan C, but what you end up doing would be in line with God's expectations for you. And so I went through my master's program. It wasn't easy. And sometimes when you are even doing what is your passion, or even what's not your passion, but it's God's calling for your life, you may think that it should be easy, but it's not. And so I went through my master's program. I was the only African and the only black person in my program, black girl in my program. And it was so hard. I didn't have a lot of friends, you know, because you speak and nobody really understands what you are saying. And so they kind of ignore you. And I used to, you know, I told my husband that I actually went to school with, at the time when I was going to school, the head of the CIA's daughter was in my class. So you can imagine, it was like top, you know, the elite America. And so I went to school with, you know, with them. And so I was very alienated, but I made a few friends throughout. And I remember one of my professors said to me that, I thought when you went back home to Ghana for Christmas, you wouldn't come back, because I can see how you are struggling. But I did come back, because I knew that I couldn't disgrace my family, I couldn't disgrace myself. I'd already started. And so I completed my master's. I went back home to Ghana to work for 6 years, and then I got the opportunity to do a doctorate. And then I came back to the US to do a doctorate with my family. And right now, I can say, looking back, I'm exactly where I was meant to be. Medicine may have been what I felt I should go into, but I think God had better plans for me. And so one of the things that I want to communicate is that the preparation is important, work hard, but also remember that you have a secret weapon. You all have a connection to the maker of the universe. And so that gives you an advantage that other people don't have, which means that you can pray about everything that is important to you, and then you can trust the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you. And so as mentees, I think you should remember that you should take your spiritual lives very seriously. There are things I can tell you that when I was going through my PhD program, because I had a family, I didn't have time to study for. I didn't have time to, you know, like prepare for like lots of things that I had to go through, like exams and things. But before I would tell like the Holy Spirit, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to say. For example, my PhD defense, when I was trying to, you know, like go through the exam that allows you to actually have a doctorate, it's called a PhD defense. I felt I wasn't prepared. And I'd had a lot of things happen during the time when I was going for my doctorate that, you know, like took my confidence away. But I told the Holy Spirit that if you can make Peter sound eloquent in front of people when, you know, like the apostles had to speak about God, you can do that for me. And he did that for me. So I just want to remind you that prepare really hard, like your life depends on it, but don't forget your spiritual advantage, because you have the Holy Spirit. So that's what I want to say. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Alote. So we're going to move to our next speaker, that is Araba Edu, who doesn't want this, the credentials displayed, so yeah. Anyway, she's going to talk about her journey, so we'll figure it out. All right.
Hello, everybody. Come on. Hello. Hi. Okay. Like she said, my name is Araba Kakwa Edu. My journey, I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey, and I'm just really going to zoom into my profession, okay? That's what I prepared for it. So I started same way back home with the same dream, want to be a doctor. Then I kept switching from doctor to nurse and then to flight attendant, okay? So those three were in order of priority or preference would be the doctor and the nurse, then the flight attendant. But as I grew, like they said, your teachers really choose for you. So they chose the doctor for you based on your performance. Like if you're really in JSS, which would be like middle school here, if you're good, then they say, okay, go in the sciences. If you're a little bit good, then say, go in the business. They kind of like align it for you. Unless you have a strong parent that would guide you, the teachers choose for you. So they chose the science for me. Did I like it? I don't know. Now looking back, I really don't know. But I think that the expectation of family and friends pushed me in the sciences. And I was good at it. Then I finished high school in Ghana, did science in Agri Memorial Secondary School, was okay. I wouldn't say great, but okay. Then came to college here in University of Colorado. In college, okay, so I had a medical condition. So in primary school, it was fine. I could still get sick and weave my way through. In high school, I struggled because when I was in JSS and primary school, when I'm not in school, I had friends that would take notes for me, and God graced me with intelligence. So I'm the type that would really just take the book, glance through, and ace the test. So it was okay because I had the friends. But when I went to high school, I didn't have those friends that would look out for me, pretty much. So I struggled a little bit. Then I came to a university in Colorado. When I came, I met the same resistance that people have talked about, where in your community, you're the only person that looks crazy, want to go to college. It happened to me. When I said I wanted to go to college, someone asked me, what is a female going to college for? That time in my community, I had no mentor. I had nobody that had done what I wanted to do. And it was as simple as going to college. Okay, so I had to figure this out. You guys are blessed. You have all these people around you that you see that have professions that you could ask questions. I didn't have that. So internet was not as it was now, so I could not research at that time that much. Okay, so I'm talking about over 20 years ago in America where I lived. Maybe it was there, but not in my community. Okay, so I had to wiggle my way through in college. Went through the difficulty of going to school Monday through Thursday, working over the weekends. I actually started working at night and going to school during the day, and I figured that's not going to help. I was sleeping through class most of the time, so I changed my course. So what I had to do was work over the weekend and go to school during the weekday, like Monday through Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I work. And still had church and still take care of family back home. You guys don't have that. That's another added advantage. But as a young girl, I had a responsibility to take care of my younger sisters back home. So you have to work, make some good money, pay your own bills. You don't have bills. So that's another advantage you have that we did not have. And still help my younger sisters do well. Okay. So I could not say I won't go to work. I had to. Because if I don't, it won't balance at the end of the month. I would have to, I don't know. So I had to do some lifestyle changes, like shop less to keep money, to have money, to take care of actual responsibilities. So went through college, did the best that I could, actually went through the hassle of getting into medical school, and I think Dr. Latte would attest to it. It's not easy. You have all these schools you have to apply to. All of them charges you money for applying to it, and there's no guarantee you're going to even get interviewed. But the more you apply, the more chances that you may get in. So remember, I had no sponsor, so I had to do all this by myself. I did all that, landed few interviews. Actually, I think I landed, a few, probably like 3 out of the lot that I did that I don't remember now. Got admission, then was very excited. I was about to going to go to this dream that I've always been. Then, fell sick. Closer to time that school would start. Was so bad, admitted in the hospital for so long, that by the time I was discharged, the school said, you can't come. You have to wait for the next cycle. It was at that time, the worst thing that had ever happened to me. Was it's like you've planned this life in this way, you've not looked anywhere, and then something just happened and it sways you away. What do you do? Do you give up? What do you do? So, like Doc saying, it may not work the way the first 3 have said yes, but you have to find a way of re-strategizing and picking what next to move on, because you can't give up in life. So it was a big deal at that time for me. I remember stopping everything after I was discharged, getting well and going back home for a whole month. I'm like, then when I came, I took a different course. It wasn't really like huge sway because it was still in the sciences, okay? By God's grace, I landed a job in laboratory, and now, so I'm going to switch. That's how my journey has been. So now switching to what I do. I'm a medical laboratory sciences, clinical. So when I say clinical, what I mean is that there's going to be, if you work in IT, there's a laboratory part of it. If you work in engineering, there's a laboratory part of it. My focus is in the health sciences. So what does that mean? We take specimen, being a tissue, a sample, whatever it is, and we analyze it, and we help the doctors make decisions on what might be going on in your body. I'm going to talk a little bit about this profession. There's so many specialties. I want to really talk about it because I figured laboratory is the least spoken pathway in the health sciences. People don't know much about it, but it's a whole world out there that you can explore if interested. If you're someone that want to go in the health sciences and you do not want to do direct patient care, laboratory is for you. Because you really, you do take care of patient, but not the person, okay? They are something. So maybe they are skin tissue, maybe they are lung tissue, maybe it's interesting. Maybe they are urine. So you don't see the patient, but you're taking care of the patient, okay? These specialties are in laboratories. There's general chemistry, there's coagulation, there's hematology, cytology, virology, molecular, there's toxicology, there's forensic science, there is pathology, there is diagnostic laboratory, there's research, education. To start, we all started somewhere. You can start in the laboratory pathway with as little as high school. But what would you be doing? Would that be the dream? I hope not for you. But you could be we call them specimen processes. What you'll be doing is you look at the sample, you label it, you make sure it's in the right place. That's all about it that you can do with your high school. Then if you have your associate degree, you can do little tests that we classify how do I put it? We do have classes in the laboratory too. So if you're doing moderate or not waived, if you are associate degree, you can do all the wave tests. Pretty much it's plug and play. So there's not much thought into it. Then when you have your bachelor's degree, you can actually look at microscope, you can take sample, and there are some of these specialties that I mentioned that if you have a bachelor's, you can work in. Some of them you have to have your master's to work in. For example, you have to have your master's to work in molecular to be successful. And in toxicology, you need that. Some of them you have to have your doctorate, like pathology. Okay, if you're going to be a pathologist, actually pathologists are doctors that specialize in laboratory. So that's the trajectory. But you can start small and work your way out. Remember, do not give up. You can do research. Again, if you're like me and you like money, you want to see where the money is. What do I have to do to earn this thing that I desire, right? And everybody has said one thing: work hard. Be the best at what you are. Yes, when I was in college, I go to any of the science classes. At that time in Colorado, I was the only black person in the science classes. I was the only black person. On top of it, I was the only African. So my accent followed me. But it didn't matter to me if you could not understand me. To me, you have to tune your ears to what I say. I'm sorry. But and most of the time, I got ignored in the lab classes because nobody want to pair with me. And that's how it usually started. Nobody want to pair with you until they realize that, oh, you're really good at what you do. Then they want to come by and be your friend. And then they want to be your teammate. So you have to. I'm sorry. We try not to pay attention to our skin color, but it has some sort of disadvantage. But we want to take that and do better and work hard. So for laboratory, unfortunately, on top of your education, you have to have licenses at every level you want to be at. You have to go back and keep adding to it. So, for example, if you did general chemistry, depending on the state that you are in Texas, you can work without a license. But if you go to Florida, you cannot. If the company that you work in decide to take specimen from Florida, guess what? You cannot, even though you're in Texas. So, again, keep working on it. Keep adding to your certification. So I mentioned few ones that you have to have. So if you want to do research, definitely you will need a master's. You can still have bachelor's and work, but again, you're looking at the money that this person is, and all you have to do is to do 2 more years. Follow the money sometimes. It's good, guys. I like it. Then you can work as a director of a laboratory, depending on the class of the laboratory. If it is waived, moderate, or high complexity. If you're high complexity and you want to be a director there, you have to have your doctorate. Whether that doctorate is in medicine, PhD, unfortunately not in the pharmacies, but in the sciences. And Doc said you can do whatever bachelor's and still get into medicine. It's true. However, in the laboratory, you have to be in the sciences. There's no way about it. So you cannot do business and say, it's not going to work, ma'am. You have to stay in the sciences. That's how it works for us. If you want to be a manager, usually depending on, again, the specialty, you have to have your master's, at least. Sometimes you can be a manager with a bachelor's, but it depends on the test you're doing. So I guess that's all I wanted to leave with you. There's one thing that we've all said. Work hard, keep your eye on the prize, do what you want to do, but I'll add a little bit. Make sure whatever you're doing can pay the bills. Keep your eye on the money. It's good. Money is not evil. It's the love of money that is evil. So keep your eye on your dream. Keep your eye on what pays what. Push yourself to do more. And if your plan doesn't work, don't give up. Find another recourse. In the health field, we have so much you can do. So don't give up. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much, Araba. And she still managed not to mention where she's at. Anyways. So, in a few minutes, we're going to open the floor for your questions and answers. And those online, you can put your questions in the comment section, and I will read it out for the mentors. As Araba said, being a lab scientist, you need a license. I believe it cuts across everywhere. And the license is not a one-time thing. You have to maintain it. So as you are working, it's like being in the health field. It's like being in a adult school. You will be asked to do models, competencies, certifications, all of them to maintain your license. So if you don't love what you're doing, it's going to stress you out. But I love it. I'm in the health science, so I love it. And if you want to do it, we were all able to do it. They have been able to get where they are right now. And if you put your mind to it, you should be able to do it as well. And that's why they are here for you as well. If you have any question, you can go ahead and ask. But I want to talk about a few things here. It doesn't matter if it's any other profession you want to get into, if it's not healthcare, but then I want us to focus on healthcare today. There are volunteering programs that the hospitals offer that actually helps you if you want to get into health. It's going to help you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. It's not easy. Health science is not easy. Nothing is easy, but health science, because you're dealing with human life, they're always watching you. They're watching you like that. That volunteering, they have it at ACA, and I believe they do it all year round. Memorial Hermann also has it. As of now, you can actually apply. And Methodist, they do it in the fall. So as of now, they have their volunteers there. And so I believe you're supposed to be applying in summer. However, if you are interested in volunteering, what you go there to do is, depending on wherever you want to volunteer, you're going to be shadowing. Whoever, if it's a doctor, a nurse, a lab scientist, a pharmacist, a nutritionist, you're just going to be shadowing. And then sometimes they allow you to do things that are not bound by laws. Like, there are certain things, I want to help out. And then if the license doesn't restrict you, they will allow you to do it. Not for the patient, but they will teach you. And then, you feel like you're a part of the team too. So if you start volunteering, some of the professions before you get into school, the requirements needs you to be volunteering. You need some volunteering hours. And this is an opportunity for you. So if you are interested, later we're going to put out our email here. You can email, and then we will send you the link and guide you on how to fill out the form for you to be a part of the volunteering program for each hospitals. Okay, so we have the floor open for questions and answers. Whatever question you have on your mind, they are here. Even though after here, you can still communicate with them, but they are here for you today. Ask all you want to ask. Okay, so the floor is yours here now. Okay, we have a hand. Miss Reina, you take the microphone over there.
Hi, I have a question on the volunteering. So, at what age can you be part of the volunteering program?
Okay, that's a very good question. So the volunteering, I can, with all the hospitals, it cuts across. It's from 15 to 17 years. And then after high school, they have volunteer in an internship. That's also different from this particular one. But this one is open for high schoolers from 15 years to 17 years. So, yeah. I hope I've answered your question. Yes. Thank you.
I want to react to that. I remember in college we had to do shadowing too. I had this good friend of mine. Her name is Lydia from Ethiopia. Lydia was very, very friendly, meaning that from here, working from here to here, she would talk up to about 50 people. And we all were in the sciences thinking we want to be doctors, right? So then we said, okay, let's go do shadowing, volunteer to see, like she said, what we're getting ourselves into. I was so excited about it. So she started hers at one hospital, I did mine. And she comes back, she said, I quit. I said, why? And she said, because everybody is not talking to me. I want to talk to people. I said, well, Lydia, you went to shadow in an emergency room. There's sick people there. They're not going to talk to you. She's like, well, if that is the work I'm going to do, then no. So she stopped. She made that decision after that. She actually did not even continue the shadowing. So it's good. If you want to get into something, take this opportunity, find out what it really entails, and figure out if that's you. Lydia, I never thought about it that medicine would not be hers. I've been with her for, at that time, probably 2 years. But that's how she is. She talks to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're African, white, whatever, she talks to you. And she said, nobody talked to me. On my first, second, third day, she said, I quit. So she stopped and recourse and then did forensic sciences. She would have the opportunity to talk to fellow scientists about what they are investigating. And it was good for her, and that's what she does. So that's what I'm going to say about it.
I also have a reaction to that. I've been telling my daughter Setonam that medicine has so many branches. Until I went into nursing, I didn't know I could be a lecturer. I did that at Central University, ICGC's University in Ghana for 6 years. I loved it. Now I'm in quality. I've been a critical care nurse. I've been a med-surg nurse. So sometimes when you shadow, that may not be your passion, but it doesn't mean that medicine is not for you. Maybe there's another branch in medicine that will work for you. So there's psychiatry, there's pediatrics. Even pediatrics has branches. Now you can be a nephrologist, you can be a neonatologist. So sometimes one area, when you go to volunteer, and that area doesn't sound like it's for you, I don't think you should give up. As we all said, don't give up. Try other options. Nursing has like maybe 50 different branches. So if you go to a pediatric, I used to cry with the mothers. So I knew pediatrics was not for me. When the mother is crying, I'm crying too. So I stopped pediatrics. That's not for me. But then I realized critical care. When the patients are sicker, they don't talk to you. You only do the machines and make sure they are okay. You turn them when you have to turn them. So I was in critical care for like 10 years, and I loved it. Pediatrics, I'll run away. So if you volunteer and then one area, you think that this is not for you, please don't give up on medicine or nursing, or just try other specialties. My daughter doesn't like talking, so I've been telling her she should go into radiology. You only read films, you don't see people. So yeah, just to add to Auntie Araba's what she's saying, emergency medicine may not be for her friend. Maybe she could have found something else in medicine. So just to add to that, thank you.
Thank you. And usually when you go to volunteer, they have other departments. You make your choice. So let's say you go to emergency. You know it's a fast-paced environment. Nobody is going to have the time. They're trying to save lives. You can go to ICU and sit there and communicate. They are always moving. But you can go to somewhere like mother and baby, or maybe you're in a doctor's office, or like the slow-paced environments. When they are not busy, they have time for you to answer your questions. All right? So yeah, you can just don't stop it. Don't let the fast-paced environments discourage you. She did critical care. She loves it. I'm not going to critical care, never, because I don't like fast-paced environments. So yeah, but I'm still a nurse. All right.
Quick question. I gotta stand up. Sorry. So, Miss Brenda said something earlier. At what age can you volunteer? I want to make sure you guys are paying attention. Okay. What age did she say? What age? No. What age? No. What age? Who can answer the question? For some money. I want to see who's paying attention.
15 to 17.
No. Everybody say 15 to 17. Miss Brenda, is that correct? No.
Yes, that's correct. For
She
the
said
hospitals.
And then
And then after high school, you can still volunteer or intern.
okay. So technically, what age can you volunteer? 15 and above any age. So you guys missed the question. Okay? So I'm going to keep it. But one more thing. This one is going to be far-fetched. I want to see now everybody's awake, right? That's exactly, everybody's awake. One more thing I'm going to add, and then we'll go back and I see who's paying attention. I know you guys are all Christians, or your parents are. In Revelation 3:8, it says, God will open the doors for you, right? But what do you have to do? Okay. God will open the doors for you, but you have to walk in through it. Okay, so as everybody said, hard work is going to pay. One thing I want to add to Miss Brenda's mentorship, the most important thing right now for you guys, the most important thing is there's so many opportunities for black and minority kids. There are scholarship programs for black and minority kids. Yes, you heard some of the mentors say you have to work or whatever. But right from even high school, there are programs that will pay you money in the summer. And I'm not joking. I received some of them. They will give you money in the summer to go do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you about all those programs, but you can Google them. You can look. There's so many minority programs that you can do from high school that will give you money all the way through college. You know, so instead of spending your summer being at home and doing, you can go 2 weeks. You can even go to the medical center. Your parents can drop you off in the morning, and then you have programs that will give you money, you know, as scholarships. So there's so many opportunities, okay?
All right, thank you. We have a question online. She was asking about, she says, is there an opportunity to intern at a hospital, lab, or pharmacy if I'm under 18? I believe that actually is the same as the volunteering. If you are under 18, you are not allowed to work. However, you can volunteer. And, well, I know you can work somewhere else, but in health science, because of certain critical things, they don't allow you to work, but you can volunteer. And I'm not sure which state you are in, but if you are not in Texas, you can go to Google, whichever hospital you want to volunteer in. Just type in teen volunteer with the hospital name, and it will pop up for you to see if they actually do it. But I believe a lot of hospitals do it. But I mentioned the major hospital is in Houston. And yeah, so yes, you can actually go ahead and volunteer. Not intern, but volunteer. All right. Thank you, Joanna.
I have a lot of it. For that one, in pharmacy, I know they start from 16. They can work, they can get paid. Even some of the high schools, they do the pharmacy tech programs, and they can work. From school, you go to work and do, you make money whilst you are schooling. And also you can do internship during that time too. So from 16, you are good to handle money and do all.
Good. You see, they are here. Ask them the questions. All right, another question here.
It's not a question. It's just an addition to what you are saying. The internships are there. Everything is there, but there is a secret. They look at your grades. I'm putting my teacher's cap on here. They will look at your grades. We are hearing it. It looks so beautiful. We are excited about it. Why is it that some people will go and get it and you don't get it? They look at your GPA and your grades. It's not everybody that can just go. When you go, they look at the grades. So make sure you are in a good standing before you even approach that. Thank you.
Thank you. And also with the volunteering, it's like it's an agreement you are entering with that particular hospital. And from what I've seen, the least time that you're going to spend with the volunteering is 6 months. You're not going to be there every day, but they have a requirement, a number of hours you're required to do in a week. and it's up to 6 months. They are very strict about certain things, but if you want to go into health science, you have to be very prepared. So it's for every other career. I've seen a lady. I know one lady who wanted to be an engineer, but she was volunteering in the hospital. And do you know where they took her? To the engineering side. So yeah, it actually cuts across.
Hello, Lady Brenda. One more thing. The hospitals have a lot of applications for volunteering. So once they open up, quickly apply because they have limited spaces. They can't take a lot of people because they don't want to see so many volunteers going to the patients' care areas. So once they open up, please apply quickly if you are interested. Otherwise, you will not get in. Okay.
I can see a hand halfway up. No, okay.
Is there any advice that you can give to younger students on like what to start doing at this point so that you can have a better social or like academic life in medical school?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Nobody's asking the question, so she get that. She get that one. So awesome question. You guys got another question? That's a good question. We'll let him answer it.
Since I'm in education, I'll take that question. She asks what advice we should give. All right. So this is what I tell everybody. The moment you start school, you should have your goal in mind, who you want to be, and you start working from there. Make your education as you are standing on a cliff. It's a life-threatening thing. That is when you can do it well. If it's life-threatening, you know what to do. Some of us go to school and we just play. Please, if you want to be like this, they've told you how they got here. Don't play with your education. One, have a goal that you're going to achieve. That is what will guide you. All right? Trends come and they go. But your life is what you do to it. So you come to school, we have courses in high school. Your graduation starts from high school. Everything that we are doing in elementary, the middle school, the starters and all of that, they count, but they don't count much. And in elementary school, you have to take some courses too that you can carry with you to high school. So by the time you get to high school, you have some high school credits already. You can take something like Spanish, you can take something like some of the CATE courses, and you can take Algebra 1, English 1 in elementary school, middle school. So by the time you get to high school, you are a year or two ahead of your classmates. So when you get to high school, you use that time to take the basic college courses like English, like the social studies, like government and all of that, so that when you go to college, you're just going to do your content or your career path. You focus on your career path in college. So you do away with all the little things that some of us, when we come from Ghana, we have to do. I didn't have to do anything though. But those that I know have to do American history and all of that. You can take care of them before you go to college. Did I answer your question? Yes. And your GPA, please. Make sure you're taking good courses like pre-AP, AP. The other one is called dual credit, okay? Those are good. Those will give you good, heavy credits, All right? Don't just find yourself in the regular classrooms and all of that. You be among the population, but you want to be, the English is big, but I want to say it, exemplary. Okay? All right. Thank you.
So let me add a little thing. Like I said, it was a great question. Let me do something, for example. What's your favorite thing to do?
I have a lot of hobbies.
Okay. What's your favorite car?
Favorite car? Lamborghini.
Lamborghini. And you?
Audi.
Reason why I ask that is you hear us, your parents, the teachers, tell you have to study hard, study hard, study hard. It sounds redundant, it sounds ridiculous sometimes. Let me tell you how I did it. I grew up in we call it Kobolo. You guys wouldn't understand. I grew up in America, you guys understand, ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto in Accra. I was so kind, hustle life, nobody goes to school in our neighborhood. Parents tell you to go to school, we just go pick tomatoes, oranges from places and go sell to make money. But let me tell you what motivated me. I walked through the neighborhoods of the lawyers, the accountants, the doctors, and I saw their houses, and I saw their kids. I saw their houses, their cars, and that's what I wanted to do. Someday I want to have a nice house. I want to have a nice car. That's what I asked him. He said, your favorite car is what?
Lamborghini.
You know how much Lamborghini cost? About $500,000. How are you going to get to buy that?
A mortgage.
Yes. You know what $500,000 mean? Okay, so you have to get a good job. How do you get a good job?
Study, work hard.
There you go. Getting good grades. There you go. So forget what it just tells you. Oh, steady hard, steady hard. I know it's hard, but pick your goal. What you want to do. And then how do you get there? Study hard. You guys see basketball players, NBA players, and they have millions of dollars and everything. There's only one path, study hard. These days, you can be a good basketball player. If you don't go to college, you can play. You can be a good football player. If you don't go to college, you can play. If you want to design Facebook, and if you don't go to Harvard like Mark Zuckerberg, you can do it. So guess what? You have to study. And it's simple. Make good grades so that you can end up with something that you like in life. Okay? Because people tell you, make good grades, and you're like, good grade, good. Hey, you want a Lamborghini? Study hard. You want to do your hobbies and travel the world. Some people like to travel, right? Probably one of your hobbies because you see your mom doing it. But guess what? Your mom didn't do it by just sitting at home. Make the grade. That's it. Make the grade, and the doors will open.
I think her question was, how can you balance school life and social life? Is that what she said? Yeah, she asked that in addition. You have to, what can you do? What advice do you have to keep the goal and also to have a social life? The Bible talks about false balance being abomination before God, meaning that if I always came to church, because that's what I personally love to do, and do not work on my schoolwork, guess what? God is not going to take the test for me. I'm going to flunk. I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be who I want to be. Plain and simple. So you have to set your priorities. That would be my advice. What is important to you? Yes, that friend wants us to go party, but I have a homework due. Party will be nice. Homework is lame. Homework is lame. Party is nice. There's booze at the party. Homework, I'm by myself. You have to make your choice. Unfortunately, no one can choose for you. Parents can advise you. Mentors can advise you. It lies with your decision. So, yes, have some social life, but prioritize. If I always tell my children, if you don't do your homework now, you won't have the freedom to play games later because I won't let you. So it will be better you take care of the homework, then you have the rest of the time to play. Then I wouldn't have anything to yell at you for. It's the same thing in real life. Take care of the priorities. Things that will allow you to buy the Lamborghini so that you're not working 4 or 5 jobs to just meet an enemy. So if you focus on that thing that will give you that big money, then you will have the rest of your time to socialize. In the meantime, make sure that what comes first for you, which for me, my advice would be, it should be your books and your plan. Take care of that first. Then if you have time, tell them, you go, I'll be there. Finish your homework, then go with your friends. Have some sort of social life. Because sometimes when you work in a corporation and you can't communicate because all you did was books, you become like a geek, is what you guys say, right? Like this person is just a nerd, yeah. So we want to balance it, but it can never be 50-50. Something is going to take priority at certain time of your life. So today, it's your books. Tomorrow, it may be social life because you really don't have to. You have one job and it pays everything. Some people have 4 jobs to pay for that one thing. So make it easy on yourself now. Thank you.
I have one more thing to add. Your association determines your destination. So I told you all I grew up in a holy village in the Volta region in Ghana. And I'm on a class page now with my classmates from Amfuega and Kukome, RC, St. Peter and Paul, GSS. A lot of the young ladies I went to school with, got pregnant after junior high school and ended there. A few of them even died because they were sick, they couldn't afford medication, and they died. When you have a dream, when you have a goal, choose people who will motivate you, who will help you, who will sustain you. So when you go to medical school, as I'm hoping you will, you choose your friends wisely. You are a Christian. Associating with people who will not help your Christian life is not the right way to go. Your association determines your destination. Yes. So by God's grace, I was a loner in a junior high school because my dream is to be a doctor. So if I associate with the girls who party, those days our teachers used to come to the dance. You could call it dance. They used to come there and write the names of those who went to the dance and come to school the next day and they'll whip them for going to dance. Because there was something we used to go and watch, Jesus movies, Jesus films. They'll bring this big screen, the whole community will go and sit there and watch those movies. What will I be doing? I'll be using my candle because there was no light in Amfuega when I was growing up there. I'll be using my candle to be learning my science books because on that book, I wrote there, Dr. Senan Ufori. No matter what it takes, I must achieve that dream. So let the dream guide you and make sure your association is going to determine the destination where you want to go. If you want to be a party goer, then associate with the party goers. If you want to be a doctor who will be useful to yourself and your society, associate with those who take you there. So one of the things I'll say when you go to college, know who you are. Know who you are. First of all, you are a Christian. So you are representing God wherever you go. Amen. Make sure you associate with people who will help you to get to where you want to go. There will be a lot of distractions. Lots and lots of distractions. The boys will come. Oh, yeah. There will be a lot of distractions. The girls will come. Ask yourself, Mommy, when you get married, you see your husband every day. I'm lucky mine goes away and comes back. You see your husband, there's no rush. Associate with people who will help you get to where you want to go. If not, they will distract you. Where the eyes where they want you to be. Yes. They will distract you. So make sure, write it somewhere. Your association determines your destination. So, yeah, that's my answer to that. Thank you.
Questions? Mr. Enyo has a question.
My question is to parents and how the parents can, because there are some of our kids who at this point they don't know what exactly they want to do. How can you guide them, or how can you find their interests, number one, and then guide them, guide them to pursue those specific interests, especially in in the medical field, because we are talking about medical field. I am not into medicine, but I have relatives who were in medicine, and in that, my family is very diverse in that particular sense. But yeah, how can you as a parent help your kids to, yeah, all right.
So that's a great question. But since he's an adult, he won't get any money. But actually, the reason why I wanted to take this question is I said earlier, I have 4 boys. The older one, right from the get-go, wanted to be a doctor. Because when he was growing up, I was in medical school and doing residency. So right from the get-go, he wanted to be a physician. The second one, Ethan, I know somebody, 1 or 2 people know him. He didn't know what he wants to do. And this is for parents. So there's this lady that we used. It's an African-American lady. It's a guidance counselor. What they do is they have a module, a computer module, the kids can put in their interest. It's a bunch of questions, about 150 questions, and they will do all this simulation, and it will pinpoint to, it won't tell them they have to be a doctor, but it will pinpoint their interest. It gets all those data together, and it pinpoints their interest. So, for example, he didn't know what he wants to do, but everything narrows down to something about computers and engineering. So then he decided to major in computer engineering. Not only that, I think that is about $200 or something. But not only that, that lady would had like a weekly or monthly meetings with him, guide him through the whole process of high school. We got in late, so we took 2 years. The great thing about it is, even me being his dad and as a physician, I didn't even have to do anything with college application. So that same program goes through with them to apply to colleges, which schools. They will tell them, if you want to be computer engineering, whatever you want to do, these schools are better, and this and that. And they go through along with them through the application process, admission process, and everything. I think that was the best thing that we did, because he didn't know what he wants to do. And now, as I speak, he is a freshman at Oklahoma State doing computer engineering. So for a parent, I know most of us get overwhelmed with these kids. We don't know what they don't do. In Ghana, they pick for us, so we are used to picking for our kids. That I personally, and you can debate about that. I personally think it's wrong to pick a career for a kid. Let them pick their careers. Every kid is different. Some kids from childhood, Mozart, by age 3, he's playing the piano. You don't have to even guess what that kid is going to be. But some kids need guidance. Since we started late with Ethan, we've decided that with the younger ones, as soon as they hit their freshman year of high school, start the program. It's not expensive, it's not cheap, but I'm telling you as a parent, it's affordable and is very, very worth it. Because the headache of applying through colleges and everything was taken away from me as a parent. So if anybody wants, I can share the lady's information. And she has connections to admission council and scholarship programs. These are people that used to work for colleges as admission counselors, and now they are out and they're doing it. And the same thing that I'm sure the parents have heard in the news, where people help their kids take exam and go to some schools and blah, 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 blah. It's not the same thing, but this is like almost similar. But this one's your kid is doing the job and everything, but the placement is amazing. So I think as parents, we should really, really invest in that.
I just wanted to add also that another thing, which is great, Mr. Dr. Edulati, but another thing that parents can also take advantage of, which our family is trying to do, is the school guidance counselors, particularly in high school. They are a free resource, but they also, they may not have as much connections to the higher level of education as the paid-for subscription would have, but they are a pretty good resource in telling you what classes your students should take whilst they're in high school, and like which credits they should be looking at, whether it's advanced placement or the college board classes or whatever that you and your students are interested in. And so the school guidance counselors are a good free resource. So
I'm going to switch and say that as a youth leader, it is not good for a parent to choose a career path for a child. They resent it. Some of them lie to your face and say they're going to do it. They go to college. Soon as they hit 18, 19, they are adults, and they switch. And they lie to your face and they do something else. Do you want your child to be doing something you don't know, or you want to at least know and help them through? We Africans tend to do that. We have some certain careers that we think you can only succeed in that. Yes, there's some sort of truth as in chances and availability of job. It's true. But let the kid do what they love, what they are good at, and just help them. Dr. Lati said something in his presentation the first time. If you want to be a trash collector, make sure you're the best trash collector out there. That's all I think parents should do, is whatever your kid picks to do, pray for them, help them to be the best that is. And one way you can figure out is also to look at your child's interest. And sometimes you could look at their interest and guide them in a way that will be profitable. For example, you have a child that likes to draw, that likes to do videos. You think this child is going to be an artist. Maybe artists don't get a lot of money. Maybe they don't get easy careers. What you can do is to tell the kid that, how about you take an engineering course and draw this thing. Like, if you discount their interest, they lose interest altogether. But take their interest and find a career that they can actually, because for engineer to make something, you have to draw that thing first. So when you guide a kid in that direction, they will do well. I have my kids telling me, both of them at a point, they all wanted to be YouTubers. I said, okay, you can be YouTubers, it's fine. It's a good career for now, but make sure that you go to school, and if you, for example, if you want to be a YouTuber, that's okay. But go to school and become a PhD in teaching and YouTube that thing. And they're like, oh. I said, yeah, you have to get a career out of this. You're not going to do what everybody's doing, because guess what? By the time you turn my age, everybody in your generation will be YouTubers. So who is going to pay for who's to watch what? You have to be the top of the YouTuber, and they agree. So that will help as well.
That's true. We have a question.
Yeah, so mine is a follow-up on what Brother Yunam asked. In trying to guide the children, of course, let's all be honest. I mean, you wouldn't be happy if your child says he wants to be a shoe shine. I mean, you would not want to say that be the best of a shoe shine in the world. You don't want to say be the best of trash collector. You understand?
The best is designing shoes. Shoe designer.
Yeah, I mean, so one other thing is to also acknowledge the fact that at age 8, a child may say, I want to be this. At age 12, I want to be that. So as a parent, you get two decisions. Maybe even from 5. My little girl started that she wanted to be a restaurant something, like a chef at an age. Then going forward, it changes. Then they go up and then it changes. How are you going to guide them on that trajectory when it keeps changing? Of course, when you've invested in all the materials or activities that's supposed to guide them on that path they said, maybe let's consider at what age do you take those things serious? To acknowledge your inputs and your logistics into guiding them. Yeah, I think, okay, that's for now.
So that's a great question. I'll use myself as an example. Like I said earlier, I wanted to do two things. The first one is I wanted to be a Shushan boy, because of the money. And then later on, which is about 2-3 years later, once I was still young, I decided to be a doctor. And then that never changed. As a parent, yes, it's hard. We have kids that one day they want to play basketball. You sign them in the basketball thing, and then 2 days they go to practice. They're like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to play soccer. So as a parent, it's frustrating. One thing I've learned, and raising kids in Ghana and raising kids here is totally different. I don't have kids in both Ghana and here to know, but I came here as a teenager. And those who know me in Oklahoma know that, like I said earlier, I have ADHD. I don't sit still. I'm very stubborn. And to the point that I came to live with my auntie and I got kicked out at age 17. So since 17, I'm living on my own. And I still decide I want to be a doctor and I pursue that. So it's hard as a parent to navigate those things. What my advice will be is, as a parent, love the kids. If they come today, the reason why we say, and I said earlier, if they want to be a trash collector, let them know that whatever you decide to do, you're going to be the best at it. For me, personally, and for me, mentoring some kids, ever since I graduated from medical school and started practicing, I've mentored about 10 Ghanaian kids that are all in medical school, or some of them are doctors now, and 3 are in medical school now. So most of those kids, when they come in, and the ones that actually get into medical school are the ones that want to do it. The few ones that the parents bring them over and say, hey, I want my kid to do it. I'm not saying their grades are not good, but they are not motivated to do it. So if there's application they have to send in, they send in late. By then, everybody's already admitted. It's hard, like you said, realistically, it's hard to say if your kid come and say, hey, I want to be a Shushan boy, to say, hey, okay, fine. I used to believe that as a Ghanaian, growing up in Ghana, believe that you have to guide a kid to what he does. But after I've been through here in the US, have colleagues, I have physician friends, or I know physician colleagues that have committed suicide because they did something their parents want them to do and they were never happy with it. As a parent, and I hopefully I'm answering your question, as a parent, I would rather, if my son wants to be a trash collector and does it and is happy in life, than me making him do something that he doesn't like and not be happy with me, or go his own way and not see him again. In Ghana, grow up in Ghana, we are forced as kids to do things. We are forced to love. You might not even know, your dad probably doesn't like you or doesn't know you, but as soon as the day he comes, you might be 20 and say, hey, I'm your dad, and now he say, hey, you have to love me. That's the way we grew up. But here in the States, it's different. If you look at social media these days, people are making money than you and I. I went to school for over 20 years, and I've seen people on social media. There's a kid called Ryan on YouTube, and he shares YouTube video, and my kids watch it, and he makes more money than me and 20 other doctors combined. And I'm sure if he was a Ghanaian parent, he's like, hey, meanwhile, that's working for him. So that's why my whole thing is changed. If a kid wants to do something, because gone are the days where you say lawyer, nurse, accountant, make money. Nowadays, somebody can pick any little thing that you think is stupid and make money out of it. It's just a different world. So that's why as a parent, I'll say, whatever they want to do, I'm just going to support them.
I want to, sorry, Doc. I want to address one thing he said is the kid keep changing. So is there a particular age you take what they said seriously? What I would say is that keep an eye on the kid. Like I said, I initially I had this and I changed it and I changed it. So just keep an eye on the kid. Note everything they are saying. And then ask them, well, why did you change? Sometimes it's just because they had something, a little resistant. A kid doesn't know how to digest that resistance, doesn't know how to go around it or how to overcome it. So then they change their path. So note what they are saying. Talk to your children. If you go off as a parent that is about to change their passion, they won't talk to you. So be an open-hearted parent and talk to them. Find out why they change it. Then wait, let them change it again. Go back and say, okay, so before you said you want, because my older kid is only 13. And we've gone through this over and over. Like, he keeps changing. And that's okay. But I always go back and ask, why did you say this? And then anytime he says, I realize that it's not the interest that has changed. It's something they found out. And then you can always, as an older individual, be able to guide them through. And finally, there's going to be a time they will make that decision. And with prayer, we can do it.
All right, thank you. We have about 30 minutes left, so we're going to take the questions from our kids here, and then we have some few questions online too. So, all right, let's shoot it.
Okay, so my question is, like, how do you pick the, I'm Denise, by the way, but how do you pick the best college for your medical career?
Oh wow, that's a great question too. How do you pick the best medical school for your career? I will answer that in 2 short sessions. When I applied to medical schools, as from Ghana, from Ghana, you want to go to the best, Harvard, Yale, Hopkins. So I applied to all those schools. I applied to Hopkins, all those things, because I thought I was it. I was the it. So when I applied to medical school, that's how I made my decision. When I applied to medical school, I applied to all the schools. And then I got a rejection letter because I didn't do well on my MCAT. My grades were good, and I was president of a regional president of this and that, but my MCAT sucked, so I didn't get admitted. But then the school that I went to, Oklahoma State, everybody wrote me a letter. Sorry, no admission. I'm reading 20 of them. But then I received the letter from Oklahoma State, and it says, oh, your grades are good, your extracurricular activities are good, and everything. Your MCAT is bad, but as a minority, we can give you a free MCAT class. I was like, whoa. And that by then, MCAT class was like $1,500. Oh, I went to Oklahoma State. They gave me a free MCAT class. During that time, the whole 3 months I was doing MCAT class, I had a interaction with the students there, medical students there. So the second time around, they gave me a free, when you apply, it was like $100 to $150 per school. So they're like, oh, since you took an MCAT class, we'll give you you don't have to pay for admission, So the second time, I only applied to Oklahoma State, and then I got in. Which also brings to the next step. When I was in medical school, I won a scholarship to do research at the same Johns Hopkins that I wanted to go medical school. So life is interesting. But here's the thing. What do you call a doctor with a C degree? Thank you. And what do you call a doctor who went to what's the name of your village again?
Alfuega Akukome, St. Peter and Paul RCGS.
There you go. I like the RC. So even if you go to that school and their medical school, you're still a doctor. So at this moment in time, don't worry about the best medical school. Just worry about getting into medical school. Because everywhere you go, you're a doctor. The same thing that they do in Harvard for spine surgery, that's the same thing I do in KD for spine surgery. It's the same thing.
Hello, I would like to add a little bit. I think I was discussing this with my kids on the same matter because I realized when we went to school, when we're looking for school, you'll be looking for school outside, and I didn't even consider Texas school. And Texas school were cheaper than we going somewhere getting those degrees or degrees some places. After school, we all came in, and whatever they pay you all the same. Your bills are going to be higher. Your what do you call? Your tuition, student loans are going to be higher than them, and they may even get a job right in front of you whilst you are looking for it because they went to school here, they live here, and they know the place well. So the schools, when you get to a certain point, it is not. You can do maybe PhD after you got your job. You can do those if you want to have those Harvard attached to your name. But it doesn't do anything. When you come out, we all do the same thing. You all come in as a pharmacist, you're a pharmacist. You all get the same pay, and even the pay they put maybe a quota. You can't even go beyond it. So you don't need to put all these unnecessary bills on you whilst you are coming to be paid the same thing over here. Thank you.
Let me add just a little thing. When I came to this country, what I realized, and we've been talking about it at work and we laugh about it, health science, all you need is an accredited school in that particular field. That's it. Nobody cares about the school you went to. Your credentials is the most important. That's it. And it has to be accredited. Accredited, yes. Else, you just you go to school for nothing. All right?
All right. So my question is, so I know I'm sorry. My name is Glenda. I know I want to be a dermatologist. I've been kind of like switching on and off between OBGYN or dermatologist, but I think like I've decided over the last couple of months. But I don't know if going to medical school here would be better than going to medical school in Ghana, taking a test, and then just coming to work over here. Because I've heard some people do it, but I don't know if it's good to do it. But like, it's an option because I've heard medical school in Ghana is also shorter. I mean, I know you said the years doesn't matter. If you like it, the years doesn't matter. It's not gonna feel like 20 years. But like, I'm just wondering.
Doc, before you answer, let me ask her. Is your contemplation based on what? Apart from the length, what else? What other reasons what are some of the reasons why you're thinking maybe Ghana?
Like I know you can get scholarships and stuff for medical school here too, but I do believe it's also cheaper to go to medical school in Ghana. So like that's another reason.
How old are you?
I'm 15.
You're in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I put this?
So let me just say this right quick. And doctor, you may know this or you may not know this, but Tennessee just passed a law where you can get a certificate from anywhere in the world, come into Tennessee, write an exam, and then you can practice. And then the other thing is my mother is a medical doctor, that's why I say that. Now, people who attend medical school in Ghana come and do their residency, they basically don't have any loans because they've done everything in Ghana and then they just come and do their residency. So I'm sure that's where some of those questions are also coming from.
Okay. So, that's a great question. That's what I was coming to. And then I said, how old is she? You're in high school. Number one, worry about getting good grades in high school. Worry about, going to college. I'm glad you want to be a doctor. It's too early to worry about where you're going to go to medical school. God will give you the opportunity at the right time. As our brother said, Tennessee has passed a law that you can practice. This is not the first time. A lot of states have that. But it's in small towns like Agape, RC. So when I was in, when I was in Oklahoma had that. But with the place that you're gonna go practice, you don't even want to live there. It's not just Tennessee or any state. There's a movie on Netflix. It's called The Good Doctor. It's a Cameroonian doctor that graduated from medical school in Cameroon, and they put him in some English village where at some point he even have to work on the cows just to get money to go back home. So technically, yes, you can go to medical school in Ghana, and that's great. My dream wasn't going to medical school in America. I was going to go to University of Ghana Medical School, Kolebu, and then God brought me here with opportunity. So yes, you can. They have laws that you can go to medical school anywhere and practice. If you are in Ghana right now and you go to medical school in Ghana, that's great. And then you come here, you take your steps, the different exams, and you pass it, then you can practice. However, you said you want to be a dermatologist. Dermatology is very competitive. Those that go to school in Ghana, medical school, and I'm not undermining anybody. I have a lot of friends that went through and issues like that. When you come here, yes, you can practice. You take the exam, but you're going to be restricted to the things that are not competitive. If you want to be a spine surgeon, almost forget it. You want to be an orthopedic surgeon, I'm not saying completely, almost forget it. If you're going to be a dermatologist, almost forget it. If you're going to do those competitive fields, almost forget it. Most of the doctors that come from Ghana, if they will tell the truth, some of them can be cardiologists, big time in Ghana. And when they come here, they have to settle for family medicine. I'm not saying family medicine is a bad thing, but this culture and this country will pick their students first for residency programs that went to school here first before they pick you. Unless you are Dr. Kofi Boateng, who was big-time cardiothoracic surgeon maybe in Ghana, and come here, and then maybe he scores the highest in the exams. That is a whole lot of maybe. But the best thing is you're already here. You're going to get scholarship to go to medical school. These days, New York, University of New York is offering full paid, free right to scholarship. Like I'm saying, it's worth it if you go here. My student loan for a month is about $3,000. But that's my problem, you know. And guess what? If I have to do it again, I'll do it again. My friends that came from Ghana Medical School, they don't pay student loan. But I'm able to become a spine surgeon. And he who was an OBGYN in Ghana, when he came here, he had to do family medicine, which he doesn't want to do. So that's the options. I'll say for your best advice for you, focus on going to medical school here. I think you can do it.
All right,
Yeah,
thank
a
you.
quick one. This will be very quick. For those of us who went to school in Ghana and came here, it took the grace of God to get to where we are now. Medicine in Ghana is so different from medicine in the US. I was already teaching at the university. When I came here, I had to go back to the ICU to start from there. And it took a lot. The machines they used, the ventilators, the monitors, I had never seen some of them before. And I was a nurse for many, 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 many years. So going to medical school in Ghana, the things you see, and coming here to practice here, dear girl of mine, don't do it. Just stay here if you can, okay? We will pay the loan. God will provide.
I think I will add a little bit. That is my daughter, but I've been always saying that people are able to get scholarships. So the only thing you need to do is to study and get good grades. If you get good grades, you don't have to. As for us, we came in, I didn't even know how to get a scholarship for my school. I have to pay everything. So you have the opportunity, just feed yourself, anything you want, your parents are providing, and you just need to study and get good grades. And the scholarships opportunities are all over. So that is what you have to do. You focus on here first. Then Ghana, we will leave it for them. So.
There you go. I was going to say.
Ghana for summer.
You can
Go
go.
to exchange program and get to know how things work there. When you go there once, you never want to stay.
It's travel abroad. Universities offer programs where you can go and do
We love
abroad.
Ghana.
Yeah.
But the medical system there.
Next question.
So my name is Tia. I already know what I want to do. It's in the sciences. But is it good to spend time on other hobbies that have like nothing to do with like your main path so you can have other skills? Not to fall back on. I've realized that to fall back on isn't a good word to use. But to like have something else about you that will attract other people to you.
So that's very important. I tell people I didn't get admission to medical school, became spine surgeon because of only my brain. It's my interaction. You, as Ms. Bridget was saying earlier, and her daughter was saying earlier, you have to have a social life. You have to know how to interact with people. So most of the time, people don't have hobbies. You need to pick hobbies that you can interact with people, whatever hobby you figure out to interact with people. For example, like I said, I'm very stubborn. I'm crazy. So I've gone fishing. I go fishing with my colleagues. I went fishing in Alaska. I go hunting with my colleagues. I get contracts from some of the lawyers in town, and they're like, "Oh, we want to meet the spine surgeon." It was like, "Oh, it's from Africa. I want to meet him." And then when we meet, we start talking about fishing, and they're like, "Oh, let's go fishing." Now go, we all do it, and they're like, "Oh, cool, you are a guy." A lot of things happen here in the United States, and that's one important thing. When you're in high school and when you're in college, I know most of the time your parents say, "Hey, go to school and come home." You need to interact with your classmates, your colleagues, not the bad ones, the good ones. You need to learn how to do things out of your comfort zone, because those things will come in handy in life. When I went to my interview for orthopedic surgery program and I was the only black, guess what? They didn't ask me any question about my grade. All they saw was on my resume that I did king crab fishing in Alaska, which is one of the deadliest jobs to do. And I did that, and we talked about whole 30 minutes about that. I left the room, and I was like, wait, this one, I didn't get it. And guess what? They admitted me because they realized if this guy can go king crab fishing in Alaska, he can do whatever job we give to him. So you need to define hobbies. A lot of Ghanaians, we complain that, oh, my job, I don't get promotions. I don't get promotions. Because guess what? When everybody at the company or corporate world is out doing something else, they're like, oh, no, me, I don't do that. Me, I don't do fishing. Me, I don't do hunting. Me, I don't do this. No, you need to learn how to do things out of your comfort zone. I mentioned earlier, I go hunting. It's not like I love guns, but hey, I'm in Texas. And when most of the lawyers invite me to go talk, they want to know if I can hunt, if I can do things. I know you guys are young, but most of the things that we hear, even in presidency, they say, oh, that's a guy I can have a beer with. That doesn't mean it's always beer, no. It means that is somebody I can hang with. It gets to a point, your education, nobody cares about it. But it also, you how to interact with people. So that's a very important question. Knowing how to do other things out of your comfort zone. You are in high school now, your parents will pay for it. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Just do the hobby. Learn piano, learn whatever. But Clinton became president because when they were running, it was neck and neck until he got on the TV and played saxophone. And then all the blacks voted for him. So learn how to do something out of your comfort zone.
So what I would say is that your education would take you there. But for you to be chosen, you have to stand out. And some of the things that will make you stand, because everybody that got admitted, trust me, had a GPA like yours or pretty close like yours, okay? But there are certain things that will set you apart. And some of them would be your hobbies or the extra curriculum activities that you did. So it's a good thing to have. It's not your plan B, definitely. But I wanted to touch more about communication and interaction. In college, one thing I realized was that I'm struggling. Like, I do my best to get my A's. My friends, they do their best to get a B+. And do you know what they do? They just go and say, hi, professor, whatever. And they get A. I'm like, how do you do that? I was raised, like he's saying, mind your business and study. But they were raised to talk to each other. Go talk to the professor. They don't bite. So as you go to college, learn to talk to your professors. They want to see you. They want to know that, put a face to the name. I'm sure I was very good, but nobody knew me because I never said hi to them. But my friends that, I don't know, but they just go to the professor's office and say hi and say, you know, I really want to get an A. I'm at 98. Can you help me? And it happens sometimes for them. So learn to communicate. When you grow and you become a professional, they want to see, for you to get into managerial positions, you have to be someone who can interact, okay? And then when you grow and maybe God blesses you with your own business, for you to gain contract, they want to see that we can vibe. So everything, like I said, the school will take you there. What will give you the actual thing is the extra things that we're talking about. So it's good.
I just need to add a little bit. It's like the American education is even almost like that. Can you believe you want to be a pharmacist and they want you to do history? You will tell yourself, what am I using history for? Back home, we were not doing that. But here, even I went to interview at a TSU. They were asking about history lab. I'm like, I have done the history 1, history 2, and you want a lab? What am I using the lab for? But they want you to be all round. When you come out, it's not only your profession, you know a little bit about everything. You can do everything, you can interact in everything, every thing over here. So America is all round. You get that, but you have to specialize and come out from that too.
Okay. We have.
We have another question, but I have a quick question. We have 15 more minutes, and we still have people wanting to ask questions. Are there ways that these students or these mentees can reach out to you and then ask their personal questions? Because we don't want to take any more of your time that we already have.
Yes, after we're done with the program, we're going to put out, our email is already up there. Just email us, and then we're going to connect you directly to whichever mentor you want to communicate with. Those online, I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll put it in the comment as well. But you can go ahead and ask your question. If you want to have a one-on-one meeting, or you want to schedule with any of our mentors, yeah, just reach out to us through this email. Or if you know my number, I'm not putting my number out here, but if you know my number, you can just text me and I'll connect you to them. Okay, all right.
Hello, my name is Gerald, and this question is like directed to Dr. Adu Latte. So I noticed you mentioned earlier that you were diagnosed with ADHD. So you have so you have like difficulties staying still, like me. And like I have the condition too, and I've been suffering for a long time, like keeping still and just like staying still and steady, and it's brought on a lot of frustrations with my parents and with me about staying consistent with my grades and such for a long time now. And I'm in my senior year. I'm trying to be better, but it's getting really difficult to stay on top of things and just be organized and all that. So, like, what are your challenges in doing such a intensive course like med school, and how you went through that with something like that affecting you?
That's an amazing question. So that and you that's a good question. You almost made me emotional. That's a good question. I wasn't diagnosed with it. They beat it out of me. In Ghana, you don't get diagnosed with ADHD. Your parents just beat it out of you. So I didn't know it until I came here and I was in medical school and I realized, oh, that's what I had. But yeah, of course, my mom will beat it out of me. If she gets tired, my auntie will beat it out. Everybody's beating it out. But here's the thing. One thing I've realized, and I might be biased, and most kids with ADHD, including myself, that are self-diagnosed, sometimes, and it's not all the time, but majority of the time, these are very creative, smart kids. They have a lot of energy. They just don't know how to use it or how to channel that energy. You probably notice this about you. When they say don't do this, you find a way to go do it by going through around and doing it. That was me. In here in America, they think it's a curse, so they give you medications and everything. But the way, like I said, I wasn't diagnosed. The way I went through it, I realized since I can't sit still, if I steady, I study in bits. I don't, before, I wouldn't sit and study for hours and hours because after 30 minutes, everything else is going off the rails. I'm thinking here, I'm thinking there. My mind is everywhere. And even as an adult, that's how my mind works. I'm sitting here, my mind is here. I'm thinking about projects in Ghana. That's how we are. We're thinking everything. But one advice I'll give to you and your parents is to find things for you to do, constructive things for you to do, things that you love. It starts with things that you love. Okay, so school is one thing. Sitting there and studying and is one thing. But also study in bits and then find things that you love that you can do in between your studying. So it motivates you. Like you do this, you do that, and then you're like, okay, I have to do this. If I reward myself by, I love to play the computer or play the piano, so I'll do this and do that, and then do this, do that. But for you, it's tough to do. These are tough things that your parents need to structure you with. But for yourself, you're in high school, you can start by doing bits at a time. Okay, a little bit here, 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 a little bit here. And that will really help you. And don't let anybody put you in a box. Like I always say, people with those things are a special talent from God. You just have to find a way to channel that energy. Because we have a lot of energy, but we have to channel it the right way. So find things that you love besides studying to do in between reading and everything. And that will help you. And if you need more things, you and I can talk. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Adulati. I want to read this question quickly from online. Daniel Afari, he's asking, how do you guide kids who have multiple interests and are all around students? Do parents have to narrow down their choices, or we should be hands-off? I'm not sure if this person is in the United States or in Ghana, but depending on where you are, it will actually help with the answer. But we're going to answer it regardless. Our mentors, over to you. Dr. Afari.
Oh, so if kids have a lot of interest, and that's a great thing. If they are in US, that's good. If they, sorry, I can't say. If kids have a lot of interest, that's a good thing. One way to go about it is, especially if they're in college, let them go to college. The good thing about college is you have 2 years to figure out what you want to do. Or the first 2 years, everybody takes the same class. So by the 2 years, they themselves can start narrowing it down what they want to do. And for some kids, just want to do everything. And I know it's a lot of money, but let them do it. I mean, I was biology, chemistry, physics, and I went to pharmacy school for a year. I wanted to be a pilot. I learned how to fly a plane. I jump out of the plane. Let people do things. Let people do things. But the thing about kids, when they are bouncing around, sometimes it's a good thing. Just have them go to college for 2 years. The first 2 years, they themselves will figure it out. If they can't by 2 years, then that's when you get a guidance counselor and everything. But in college, they'll have a guidance counselor anyway, as our other doctor mentioned. They'll have a guidance counselor. So the guidance counselors will tell them. Because when I was in pharmacy school, because prerequisites for medical school is whatever. And a lot of Ghanaians were telling me, hey, what if you don't become a doctor? So I went to pharmacy school so that if I don't become a medical doctor, I can have something to fall on. So whilst I was in pharmacy school taking pre-medic classes, one of my professors asked me, why are you doing that? I was like, oh, this is why. Because in Ghana, that's how he said, this is crazy. If this is what you want to do, just do it. So then I drop out of pharmacy school and follow medical school. So, there are mentors there in college too that will help. I don't know if that answers the question.
I think that as a parent, you can make a list of the interest of the kid. Let the kid volunteer, like we already mentioned, and they will find their way through that. but you can make a list of in order of priority or interest, and then let them go through their mentorship or volunteering. And by the time they go through it, you and them both will figure it out.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take our next question.
My name is Nana, and I kind of know what I want to do. Like, I've had a pretty good idea since like 5th grade, but I started taking some classes. I want to do something in criminal investigation or law, and I started taking some other classes, and now I'm kind of second guessing if I want to be a lawyer, cause like I'm taking forensic science right now, and I'm considering maybe being a forensic scientist, or now. At first, I was like, I want to do criminal law, but now I don't know. There's business law, there's family law, there's medical law, so now I'm kind of lost. Like, how do I find out? Like, how do I figure out what I want to be?
All right, thank you for that question. With the mentors, apart from healthcare, we have other fields as well. So I'll leave it for them to talk, but then we have our email here. Just email us. We're going to connect you directly to a lawyer, and then you can talk to them. They can give you much more details in the field you want to go to. Okay.
I can give you a little hint, a little bit. About 3 years ago, I was about to go to law school. I work with a lot of lawyers, like I said. I work with a lot of lawyers, and with accident victims, have spinal cord injury and everything. And one of my physician friends also went to law school, and they offer us doctors a path to go to law school. So I looked into it. I almost did, but then I changed my mind. But here's a little thing. You are enjoying criminal forensics or criminal science studies. Enjoy it right now. Don't worry about family law. Don't worry about criminal law. Don't worry about what part of the law you want to practice. Focus on what you are interested in. It seems to me that you are interested in anything with criminal forensics or criminal science. So continue with the criminal science. Eventually, this will come to you. Most people go to law school. They don't know what lawyer they want to be. They go to law school, and during law school, they decide, you know what? I want to be family lawyer, criminal lawyer, or prosecutor, whatever. So for now, be the best criminal scientist. Keep your grades high so that when they decide to do anything else, your grades wouldn't limit you.
I want to add a little bit. In my field, I was a nurse in Ghana for like over 10 years before I moved to the United States. I was doing women's services. That's a specialty in nursing. I thought I was done. Oh, I've figured it out. I moved to the United States, and I got confused. I realized I didn't want women's services anymore. When I came initially, I'm like, I want to be a nurse practitioner in women's health. And then I went into women's services here just to start, and I didn't like it. So it's like that. You can switch anytime. Just be a lawyer first, and then you can figure it out later. Yeah.
So just to add to that, I think in their profession I heard Mrs. Edu mention something about forensics. I think in their line of profession, they come into the law. They come into contact with something that has to do with the law. I know there's portability, HIPAA. You know, so let them come out with a legal maybe that may be her interest.
Oh, I'm in court once a month.
And the lab scientists too. Yeah.
The law, you can do law anytime. Even pharmacy, we have pharmacy law. I can go do pharmacy law and still be in the corporate to do any law governing pharmaceuticals. Any law, you can do it. So as for law, you can even get to different level, and you can still become a lawyer if you want to be.
Yeah, our patient safety director at HCA Houston Northwest, she's a lawyer and a nurse. So all the suits that we get, all the patients that are not happy and they take us to court, she does all the lawsuits, and I work with her. So even in healthcare, we have law. You can be a lawyer who is also a nurse or a doctor, and you help us with the lawsuit and take the nurses to court.
And then also in laboratory, you can also work in the law. Like when there's a litigation, sometimes they have to depend on the results that, and usually that usually falls in the forensics, but also toxicology, where docs clients will say, I was not under the influence, but we come in and we prove that you were lying with actual data that you were or you were not. So there's so many things you can do. But like he said, let's enjoy what you have for now.
Yeah,
And
we're
then
gonna
it'll fall
take our
in
last
places.
question. Yeah, sorry. It's already one, so we're taking our last question, and then we'll just summarize everything. And
Hi. My name is Tracy, and my question is, what advice would you give to people who had to pivot from plan A to plan B or plan C to continue to have that zeal and passion for their new path and be confident that that is going to work out for them?
I'll take that question because it's obvious I'm the one who did that. So I think, Tracy, that's a really great question. So the first off, when plan A doesn't work out, it's disappointing. And so sometimes it takes your drive and your joy away, but plan B may work out. If that doesn't also work out and you have to go plan C, that's fine. You just need to keep an open mind, knowing that, as I said previously, a lot of us are different in the room compared to people of the world. We are, children of God. And so typically your plan A may not even be God's will for your life. Plan B may not be, but plan C probably would be. So just keep an open mind, know that the Holy Spirit is leading you, and try and motivate yourself. If it from scripture or even picking up a mentor like us or other people that are in the field that you are looking at in your plan C, identify someone who mirrors what plan C looks like or what plan B looks like, and try and forge a relationship with them, and then that kind of relationship can motivate you. The Holy Spirit can motivate you as well, and then also just looking at what usually happens in that field, like the news that happens in that field. So just being open, being aware of yourself, aware of what's going on in that field, your plan B or plan C field, and then asking the Holy Spirit to help you is my advice to you.
I think I also fit in that because I also read course. As Christians, trust God and pray about your plan. Like Doc said, your plan may not be the plan of God for you. Taking me as an example, I did everything anyone would do to meet their goal. But I had a condition that really caused me at a point where I felt it was the worst thing that should ever happen. But look at me now. Because I had to divert. Now my family has a business and the diversity, right? My original course was not going to put my family where we are now. Now my husband has a laboratory, and I can boast to say that he had the confidence to step in there knowing that there's a wife that does this already. So it kind of like worked out in God's own bigger plan. But in when was that age? I've forgotten. But when that happened to me where I could not go to medical school, not because I didn't work hard, not because I didn't get in, but because I felt sick. I felt like hell had broken loose. But after 10 years, God has had a way of putting everything together. So the Bible says that for the righteous, all things work together for your great gain. The only one thing I will leave with you is pray about it consistently and trust God through it and keep working at it. If it doesn't work, maybe that is not the will of God. And so don't discourage yourself at all.
all right, thank you. Thank you so much. I would like our mentors to just give you a little bit information about like the fields, what falls under that field. It can be medicine, but you don't know that physician assistants are connected to medicine. And then when it comes to nursing, you don't know what is connected. Maybe you have licensed practical nurses. We have other connections to nursing, we have pharmacy. So if they can give us the other connected fields that they all term medicine or health science, so that at least you know exactly who to contact, who to mentor, who to be your mentor. It's gonna narrow it down for you. So I would like you to help us know which fields are connected to you so that they can easily contact you directly.
So, yes, so in the field, medicine is very broad, so it's hard to, all of us are connected. So it's hard to say which one is connected and which one is not. But I'll say, as a surgeon, the things that are connected are, well, we already know nursing is, but we have surgical assistants too. Surgical assistants is very lucrative. Most people don't look at it. Most people think, oh, I want to be a surgeon, I want to be a doctor. But surgical assistant, and there's a requirement for that. But that they also help in surgery. There's a course, like 2 years course. You can do that. You can later on become a surgical first assist, which is also after a little course. So it's not, if it's after high school, you can do 2 years of the course and become a surgical assist, and then go on further to become a first surgical assist, and on and on and on. Some of my surgical assistants or first surgical assist, sometimes I see their check and I'm like, whoa, so there's another field that's within the surgical field that's great. There's physical therapy connected, but almost everything in the healthcare field is connected. But surgical assistant is one thing that most people don't talk about, but also is very lucrative.
Okay. And
the same for nursing. We have a lot in nursing. So you can be a patient care technician. A lot of people start from there. I think high schools now, when you come out, you can be a PCA, something like that. I think Klein has that. CNA, right? Okay. Because we call them patient care technicians. So CNA, you can come out with that. You can be an LVN, licensed vocational nurse. So that's on your path to becoming an RN. So from there, you can be an RN. RN, we have so many specialties. And as I said right now, I have a colleague who is a lawyer and also an RN. So there's so much you can do once you come into nursing. A whole lot that you can do. You can be a critical care, emergency department, message. There's so much. So see me for more. I'll give you all the details. You can be a teacher, administrator. You can do anything. There's so much in there. Researcher. You can be a nurse researcher as well. So there's a lot more in there. And all of us here are connected. We can't do our work without our doctors, our pharmacists, our lab people, our dietitians. We can't do our work without them. So we are all connected. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a hospital here right now.
And for pharmacy, we have a pharmacy tech, and we also have the tech trainee. The tech trainee, you don't need any certification. You just 16 years, you can just go on the state board. I can lead you to that. You go to the state board, you put in your credentials, your social and all those, then they create a certificate for you. That certificate, you can work in a pharmacy as a cashier over there whilst you are learning to be a technician. So they give you 2 years to become a technician. So you have 2 years to prepare for in a high school or learn something to become a tech. And if it's a work you want to do, then you can move on to be a pharmacist. We have an infusion pharmacist. We have critical care pharmacist. We have retail pharmacist. We have compounding pharmacist. We have a lot of pharmacy kind of where you can branch into. So it's not only retail. A lot of people see us at a community pharmacy as the only one, but hospitals, we got a lot of, you can be oncologist pharmacist. You can specialize like we have in Dr. MD. You do your residency. You can do residency, then after residency, you specialize into any of the field. To be oncologist, pharmacist, or any of them. So we have a lot of branches you can branch into. Don't retail yourself to retail pharmacy that you see only.
And I also just want to add, similar to what Dr. Bridget said, if you don't want to also go into, clinical care, you could also do research, policy, work with NGOs or nonprofits, or even state agencies, the ministries, anything. So you don't need to, go into direct patient care. You can do other more adjacent careers that are quite lucrative as well. And so there's those options as well.
One more thing, you can work with the FDA, Food and Drugs. You can work with them, Pharmacy Information System. You can do all those research, work in the pharmaceutical companies. You can work over there. So you have a lot of opportunity. If you don't want to be a patient care, like direct customer service kind of, you can.
I think I mentioned it in my submission. I mentioned a lot of specialties you can do. One thing I didn't mention is a laboratory assistant. You can be a laboratory, you can start from there. All you need is associate degree, and you can start from there. One thing I didn't mention much was research too. There's research in laboratory. They usually call them R&D, research and development. They are the brain behind everything. And so it's very specialized. You have to be someone who likes to read a lot. So you're the one that is going to figure out how we can put A plus B to get a C. So that's one thing I didn't highlight on. And also diagnostic laboratory, like sonography, ultrasound, radiology falls into laboratory. So laboratory is so big. However, a lot of people don't really research, but there's a lot of things you can do. If you don't want to see blood directly from a patient, that's one route you can.
All right.
So, sorry, just to add a quick to Dr. Araba. Lab, like you said, is very broad. I remember when I finished my biology, chemistry, and physics, before I started medical school, I came here to Houston and worked at Americhem. It's an oil company in the lab. So I work in their lab. So it wasn't with blood. It was just we're periodizing phenols and oils and chemicals and everything. So it's laboratory is very broad. So you just don't if you don't like blood, or if you don't like healthcare, you can get into lab in some of the engineering companies and everything. But I think you still need the basics of the chemistry that she said earlier.
And the nurses as well. You can also be a nurse practitioner. I think I did mention that. So some of us disappointed doctors, you can be a nurse practitioner. You can still prescribe and see patients like doctors do. So that's also an option for us, for nurses as well. A CRNA, you can be an anesthesiologist. So that's also a branch of nursing. So get in first, and then you discover your interest.
One last thing I want to add. I know, especially when they come to African kids and us Africans, as we've all said, and most of them have said, oh, I wanted to be a doctor, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a doctor. Let me tell you one thing about medicine. It's a calling. If you don't like it, eventually it's very bad on you and your family. It takes a lot of work. Anything in the healthcare field, it takes a lot of work, hard work, and not just the schooling, even after. I can be sitting here and they can call me that one of my patients is critically in condition, have a spinal cord injury, and I have to go. It doesn't matter if you're having dinner with your family. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to go. So we say when you're in medicine, your number one in life is not you. It's not your wife. It's not your kids. It's medicine. So with that said, you have to also know that if you are going to medicine because of the money, there's so many things you can do. There's so many fields in medicine, healthcare, that you don't have to be a doctor. You'll be surprised as Ghanaians and Africans will look on stage and say, oh, he's the spine surgeon. He makes the most money. No, you'll be surprised Miss Araba makes more money than the spine surgeon. And no, in all seriousness, that's why I said if you want to be a trash collector, be the best. Most of your parents will tell you be a doctor because you make a lot of money. I know people that are doing labs, that are doing CRNA, that even have their own CRNA companies. Make one of my biggest mentor in Oklahoma, Miss Mina Akwe, was the first nurse I ever met when I came to America. This lady is world-class known, especially in Oklahoma. She was a nurse. She makes more money than a lot of doctors. She took it as a business and took it like over the skies. So don't think because you want to make money and because your parents say doctor is the best. Like I said, on stage, I might not be the one making the most money. Miss Araba will be the one making the money. So don't think about money. That's why you want to be a doctor. Do what you love, and there's so many fields in medicine that you can make amazing money doing it.
All right. Thank you so much to our mentors here. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you all for coming. This actually brings us to the end of the program. If you have any questions, if you want to connect directly to a mentor, just email us at professionalmentorshipus@gmail.com, and then we will connect you. Also, before we go, we have something small for lunch. So at the back, we have lunch available, and then I know you're all hungry. Me, I'm hungry. So yes, thank you so much. A little closing prayer, and then we'll be done here. Father, we thank you for bringing us to a close. Father, we thank you for bringing this event to this point. We thank you for making it successful, and we pray that you're going to continue to guide us and to help us through this journey that we have started. In Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
One, let's go.